Okay, guys. Hey, welcome to the live, and here we go. Uh, I did a live last night for my first one. Was it? Yeah, it was my first one, wasn't it? Covering this case. I've been watching it since the start. Unroll. Obviously, we're at that time where the deadline is here, and they're keeping an eye, of course, on the Bitcoin wallet. So we'll see if money gets deposited. So if anyone knows or hears of, um, one of the I guess, multiple stations talking about it. Let us know. Um, Sharmain and Melissa are here. Sharmain from True Crime Story Podcast and AJ American Justice. Melissa's here as well. We thought we'd do a live together. They had done one last night, had some, nice coverage there yesterday. Anyways, you guys, welcome to the show. Obviously, please hit that like and the share if you could do that, whatever channel you're in. Please support Melissa. She's close to her 500 subs. So if you haven't subbed with Melissa, always their links are in the description of this video. Plus, they can post their links as well throughout. But help support Melissa, get her over 500. She's so close. I think she needs like 9 more, something like that. But yeah, so hey, Sherman. Hey. Hi.
I gotta keep myself muted. Hey, hi.
Why?
How's it going?
Why? You got noise? What's going on there?
I, am I
You're good.
okay? Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
I'm hey Melissa.
Hey,
Hey. Hey is for horses.
Hey.
Hey. Hey girl, hey. But anyways, you guys, so uh obviously, like I said, we're literally 6 minutes past that timeline of when this ransom was supposed to be, put into this Bitcoin wallet. And let me just quickly say at the moment, really, there's only 14 votes, people. Let's go. Chop, chop. Put your little votes in. And everyone and their dog and cat is doing a live right now. Anyone pretty much that's in the true crime, most of the people we know, other ones, the news, everyone's pretty much doing a live right now because this is, the moment of do they pay the ransom or don't they? Um, I got my voting thing up here. So just at the moment, 50% are saying no, yes, 22%, and 28 undecided. Let's just start off with that one. Charmaine, what do you think? Do you think that they're going to pay the ransom?
Oh man, I
I know.
think I think that it would be a mistake if they did without proof of life. That I mean, they have to get proof of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I think our interpretation of the video of the family was I think we were wrong. I don't think that they I don't think that they believe Nancy is gone. I believe that they think after seeing or Savannah's video today, I think that they truly believe she's alive. But again, without proof of life,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I wouldn't. And the poll is on. It's a crime and shame. I didn't do a poll. I just finished a live with Jack and Lily's case, so I didn't have time to do all that fancy stuff.
You can just
So
put
if you
it
want,
in the chat. Yeah. Say your yes or no, or you know or undecided. So I have yes, no, or undecided. So I agree absolutely. I'm hoping that this ransom does not get paid. um I think it's a bunch of BS, especially without the proof of life. No, sorry. You're not going to get no $6 million. Kiss my royal ass to that one. But it's their choice, obviously. So we'll have to see what happens. But there's no way I would ever put out that kind of money. If I know I'm not in that position to sit there and truly feel, but I just wouldn't without a proof of life. No way, because that makes me believe that she's not alive, or just by saying that, hey, we'll drop her off within 12 hours after you give us the $6 million. Nah. Melissa, what do you think?
I I think that them paying that much ransom without having proof of life would be really kind of dumb, to put it bluntly. But even with proof of life, if they had it, I know they want their mother back, but I feel like this whole ransom thing is just more of somebody trying to get a quick payday than somebody who actually has Nancy. And I do think Savannah thinks her mom's alive.
Yeah, and we'll listen to that in a minute. Now, my next question, and you guys in chat, whoever's chat you're in, um, do you think that the kidnapping, abduction of Nancy is like, do you believe that the two were intertwined, or do you think it's a bunch of, parasites trying to siphon money out of this situation? Or do you think that it truly is connected together? And that, like, whatever you like, just do you feel it's connected together, or kind of no, that con artist here and they're taking advantage of the situation just based on the stuff that we know so far? What would you think, Charmaine?
Oh,
It's tough.
yeah, I do think that I do think that the ransom is a hoax. I do. I don't think that. I think that. Oh man, I hate saying it,
But
but
you think
I
it's
think.
connected, even if it's a diversion of the truth here and this playing out here, do you still feel like that who's ever involved is still part of the, um, you know, uh, obviously ransom thing?
I do for the most part. I mean, it's been proven that there was, I think, somebody who demanded ransom. It was a hoax. Uh, There were charges laid. Somebody in Florida, I believe. But
California.
okay, yeah. But I do think that it's definitely. I do think that it's definitely connected. But I think that it's a distraction. I think it's. I do. I'm sorry, but I do.
Because
I think it's a
remember,
distraction. Something that they did, and
because
I
it
don't
was
know.
1 million now, and then they turned it to 6 million. Like, it was 1 million at first on the first note, and then they upped it to 6 million Bitcoin. And it's like, is this a fucking game? Like, but anyway, but did you remember that first one was 1 million, now it was 6 million?
No, I mean, I didn't even see that. I didn't
Oh,
see that. Literally just started really looking into stuff last night,
yeah.
and from what I understood was that the the cryptocurrency that they were requesting was not like it wasn't specified Bitcoin or not.
Yeah.
But then and that was why, because it's obviously got different value, the different
Mm,
whatever. So, but I mean, that was just from the chatters last night, right? Like they were coming in, giving me all the information that I had, and I was like, wow, 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 I didn't know that.
yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't know that it had
Well,
changed.
Shannon just said that. 1 second there, Melissa. Shannon is saying that Brian said 4 million, then 6 million. So obviously, because I heard that on one of the news channels, because even I was like, "Oh, was it a 1 million at the start?" So what? Obviously, there's a little bit of confusion there what it was, because I literally heard it off of a news channel myself. So who knows? Either way, sorry, Melissa, go ahead.
Yeah, I had heard that early on, within the first couple days that it was 1 million. But I thought it had changed several times now, because I thought it was like one and then either four or five and then six. So I thought it had actually changed twice. So
See, I
one,
guess we're all.
four, six. So I guess that is kind of what I was thinking it had been. But as far as being connected, I mean, they might be connected and it's a diversion, but I don't think that the person requesting the money has Nancy. or at least doesn't have her alive, in my opinion.
You know, yeah, I just honestly, I don't know. I don't feel like this is such a motherfucker twisted case. Can I just say that? Like, seriously, in the scope of a small amount of time, it's like, it's crazy to watch. They're at Nancy's home. They bring down the crime scene tape. They're, over at Annie's home. Then they're at, come back storming, with FBI and come back again. Like, it's crazy to watch this. Does it a little bit, you guys, quickly, does it a little bit make you feel like, do you guys know which way you're heading your ass are on this one? Because it just feels ridiculous. Like, it feels like it's even worse than Delphi for LE. I don't know, but do you guys get that feeling a little bit? Like, do you guys know what the hell you're doing over there? Because how many times can you keep going back and forth like that? And because the media, and then go to Annie. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean there was retired deputy chief, I believe,
Yeah.
who Brian Entin talked to, and he was even like, well, we're the older, more experienced investigators have retired, so they're dealing with a lot of younger, new
Yeah.
investigators, and their homicide rate is much lower than it used to be, so they're not getting the experience that they need to handle it. But I mean, it was clear to me that even the retired deputy chief felt like there were mistakes made, and just on the outside looking in, it's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? It's not good.
Melissa?
The first thing I have to say is you and Shar need to get the fuck out of my head and stop reading my damn mind.
Well, then you don't
Because
get fucked up.
as I've been going through these lives, I've learned just take notes because then I'll say what I want to say. And I literally, right before you said it, wrote down Delphi because it reminds me of what they did at Delphi, where they released the scene and then they went back. It's like, damn it,
It's like,
Sonny,
oops.
get out of my head. So
Oh,
at least
we're
we're on the same page of it. But
yeah.
I
Oh,
mean,
it's
I
just
hate to laugh. It's not a funny situation at all,
no.
guys. I don't want you to think I'm laughing at the situation. I just had to
Well,
give Char and Sunny hell for a second. But I mean, they're not so much short staffed as they are short on experience, in my opinion. If what the retired guy was saying last night is true. But releasing the scene and then going back and then releasing it again and going back for a third time and then going to the daughter's house. It just seems
3 hours almost, eh?
yeah, I mean, it seems like to me like they're almost handing the defense, well, they didn't have it secured. We don't know what got put. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
if it's not secured, you don't know who went and planted what. So I just have problems with any department that will secure a scene, unsecure it, secure it, unsecure it.
I know. Like,
Stop playing yo-yo. Treat
yeah.
missing kids and missing elderly as criminal and keep it secured until otherwise.
Yeah. 1 second here. Uh, okay. Well, I'll do this. Let's see. Okay. I'll bring up the timeline. We'll play out, of course, Savannah Guthrie's message that's, of course, everywhere been shown on this one. But this one, so Jennifer Coffindaffer, if anyone doesn't know who Jennifer Coffindaffer is, she's a retired FBI agent. She's been on this channel. She's a very grounded person. I've always liked Jennifer, except for the whole Ron Logan thing. Nah. Okay. But Jennifer Coffindaffer, I'm amazed I actually haven't seen her as much. Am I just missing her? Because normally on big cases, they're always calling up Jennifer Coffindaffer, but I haven't seen her so much. Have you guys? Not on this particular case, but
Not
but
lately.
yeah, because normally she's everywhere when these things are going on. But anyways, so I'll make this full screen for a minute. Uh, Thank you guys. And then I'll hit bigger on this one. So I'll just say what Jennifer Coffindaffer says. She says, actually, no, I'll play the thing first and then we'll read it. Because, whoops, what am I doing? It's not what I'm trying to do. What am I doing? I don't want to do picture in picture. Nope. Okay, there we go. So let's go back.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
One second. Coming. Let's see here. Okay. So, well, maybe I should have left it bigger for a second. I'll bring it back bigger for a sec. So Jennifer Coffindaffer, again, retired FBI. She's, oh my goodness, kind of like Maureen O'Connell there, just so much experience that you couldn't even imagine, right? The experience that they have as FBI agents in cases and stuff like that. So I always like to listen to like Maureen. Obviously, O'Connell is the one that's been doing a lot of talking with this. But Jennifer Coffindaffer, she says important takeaways. First of all, that it's only Savannah. Savannah has on makeup jewelry and is showing her strength. Savannah spoke much about prayer, and clearly the prayers have lifted her. She did not address the despicable ransom note terrorists. She asked for help, which leads me to believe that the LE need help. She spoke fondly of her brother and sister. She intimidated her mother. Wait, what? Intim what is that word? Intimate? I don't even know. I'm looking at it and heck,
Intimidated.
No, it's not though. Maybe she spelled it wrong. She intimated her mother could be far. Should have read further, then I could have understood that word better. Her mother could be far, and that if anyone, no matter where they live, has seen anything, to please report. I bet those who toyed so menaciously with Savannah with those ransom notes are not happy seeing Savannah strong. Their game and their leverage has come to an end. Okay, so those were the takeaways from Jennifer Coffindaffer that she had put. Now, so in saying that, now what I'm going to do is I said this to, I don't know if Sharmain heard me. So I would, as much as I would love to play TMZ, hey guys, I can't because they'll copyright claim, right? Could cause copyright strike. Not going to do it. But what I did was I went to the transcript and I just recorded my own voice to the transcript of what Harvey Levin said, which I thought was interesting. So we'll listen to that first, And again, if anyone hears about $6 million deposited into, use stop signs in chat or something, of the Bitcoin being deposited, because obviously they can, whoever has the Bitcoin number then can, watch to see if money gets deposited into the wallet, because everyone wants to know is, are they going to pay the ransom? I pray that they don't. I pray that this family gets answers regardless, one way or the other. But I truly pray that they don't actually pay this out without a proof of life. You know, if there was proof of life, absolutely. But no, not in parasites. Um, it's so sick and twisted. I get so angry that people actually out there can do stuff like this. It's just crazy. But this is the sick, twisted world that we live in amongst us. But anyways, so just gonna play. So it's a video file, and so again, so this is gonna be the transcript from Harvey Levin from TMZ. Where are you? I think it's.
I'll be right back, Sunny.
Okay. All right. Okay, everyone. So I'm going to read the transcript from TMZ with Harvey Levin because obviously it would get a copyright claim. So it says, it seems Nancy Guthrie is still alive. That is at least what Savannah Guthrie seems to be telegraphing in her latest Instagram post. She says she's meaning Nancy is feeling these prayers. So she believes Nancy is still out there. And the other thing that seems clear is that they have reached a dead end with whoever took their mother. She says that we believe our mom is out there. We need your help. This Monday, and the deadline is today at 5 Tucson time. The kidnappers made it very clear in the first ransom note which we received. The situation is dire. If they are true to their words, if they don't get that ransom money at 5 o'clock today, Tucson time, we have checked the Bitcoin address and you can see what's deposited. As of this moment, the 6 million ransom has not been deposited. Now, it goes on to say, something happened where they're at a stalemate because if you remember, over the weekend, Savannah said we are ready to pay and the money isn't there. There is some reason, obviously, as to why they haven't. It just seems like Savannah is throwing her hands up, saying law enforcement is doing everything possibly, but she is begging for the help of anyone, no matter how far away, for anything that could be a clue. The kidnappers, as far as we know, have not shown proof of life. Now, we have only seen the first ransom note, not the second. The second was sent to a local Phoenix television station, but it seems that the kidnappers have not done anything concrete. Although there was something really interesting in the message Savannah left over the weekend when she said, "We understand," referring to that first note. So there is something that the kidnapper said or demanded that Savannah is acknowledging. And then to me, the key word is the Instagram post over the weekend, is the word celebrate. What did Savannah mean when she said, we want to celebrate with our mother? It is an odd phrase to use in the middle of all of this. And the only thing I can think of is that the word may well have been used in that second ransom note. I don't know because we haven't seen the second, but the word is so out of context that I think it's reasonable to at least guess that the word was used in that second note. Now, she says, our mom has been taken and we don't know where. So she is kind of acknowledging that, as we told you Friday, that the way the ransom note and, well, be in a little bit descriptive. Now, the way the ransom note is worded, that they say we will bring your mother back to Tucson, meaning they're not in Tucson right now, if you believe them and take them at their word. We will bring her back to Tucson within 12 hours of the time that we receive the money. Well, if you take 12 hours and then you multiply it by 60 miles per hour, it gives you about a 700-mile radius around Tucson. And so it's if basically the western United States, if you take them at their word, and they would be within the confines of that 700-mile radius. Personally, I think that there's a good chance that they're way closer. And the reason I say that is there is a connection between the kidnapper and the Tucson television market, which is a much smaller radius than 700 miles. This person who wrote it has some connection to Tucson because the first ransom note was sent to two local television stations there. In addition to us, the second ransom note not sent to KOLD, which is one of those television stations in Tucson. So whoever wrote this has some connection. Remember, if this were just somebody who saw Savannah Guthrie on TV and said, here's what we're going to do, they probably would have sent it to NBC News, where Savannah works. This is somebody connected to Tucson, and it just feels like it's somebody who either knew Nancy or knew of Nancy, that she had a famous daughter and that somebody in that Tucson area. So we talked about it on Friday, but it sure seems to me that and I want to say one other thing, that whoever wrote this is intelligent, is articulate, and I say that because the way that the first ransom note is worded, it is well structured. The grammar is almost perfect, and it is somebody who is smart. So if there's somebody in Tucson area that you noticed, somebody over the last week has gone MIA who is smart and articulate, I don't know, that may be a lead. But it just feels like this is somebody who lived in that Tucson area, or at least the Tucson market. And it is somebody who, if you believe this letter, the Y is within the radius. I think it goofed up there. The radius right now with Nancy of that city of Tucson, Arizona. So unfortunately, it seems, at least judging by Savannah's most recent post, that there are some kind of dead end. And because she just is now begging for everyone to help as the clock keeps ticking. Okay, so again, for anyone that is coming in, that was the transcript from TMZ when Harvey Levin was talking about, of course, Savannah's posting on Instagram there, the one that was played before this. So that was his, like I said, the transcript from TMZ, because I'd get a copyright claim if I actually played the TMZ clip. So I don't know, takeaways from that, Melissa, I'll start with you.
Oh, I have so many. So let's start with the video.
Not sure.
Savannah's body language in this one. I don't want to say it seems more hopeful, but it almost does. It's different than in the other ones. And, you know, she's saying she wants this nightmare to end and they need help. And so that leads me to believe she still thinks that her mom is alive. With Jennifer Coffindaffer, what she said about the makeup and the jewelry, Savannah is a newscaster. Like, that's probably just second nature at this point, to get up and get ready. And if she knows this is going to go out, she knows it's going to be aired, it wouldn't surprise me for her to put on makeup, you know, lipstick or whatever. I didn't read much into that. But what bugs me is that the ransom notes were sent to the news stations. They weren't sent to family. They weren't sent to Savannah's news station. It was sent to local, smaller stations.
Two of them and one of TMZ, right?
Yeah, that just... Yeah. TMZ is like the lower end of what you would call celebrity news, but I don't know, that really bugs me. But, you know, I really, Nancy had a pacemaker and she had high blood pressure and she had cardiac issues. So if this started out as a kidnapping, a legit true kidnapping, her not having her medicine for this long is very concerning, both because she needs it, but she's under high stress. If she's truly kidnapped, she's under stress. And if you already have high blood pressure and you're under a lot of stress, your blood pressure is going to go up. So couple that with a pacemaker and already having heart issues, the chances, unfortunately, in my opinion, of her still being with us on this realm is slim. And I pray to God I'm wrong. I pray they find her and she's safe and she is returned. But that's, and intimated means to imply or hint, for those that don't know what that means.
Mm-hmm. And Sharmain?
Kind of the same. I feel like, to me, the biggest tell to me is the networks that the ransom letters were sent to. That's exactly why I think that it's somebody connected, and that it's not an actual ransom situation. Unfortunately, if it was, they would want to go to the big time. They would want to go straight to the FBI. They would want to go straight to NBC, straight to where the famous daughter works. I think that's the biggest tell, in my opinion. And but at the same time, if it's somebody that they know and Nancy knows, there's a good possibility that she might have some stress, but she might just be pissed off and annoyed. You know how elderly people can get with people they know. So it could very well be. It could be that she is still alive out there. However, I haven't looked closely at the blood droplets, so hopefully you'll show those after. I don't know, I haven't really looked to see the amount. But like the medication, the high blood pressure, all of that stuff at her age, it's important. But that definitely a different tone in Savannah's message today, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. On it. What's confusing about this case is honestly it's because of the ransom, and it's the weirdness of this whole round. Like let's take out the loser from California. He's just a dumbass that obviously was not high tech about shit. I think all he did was just probably use one VPN that they found instantly on him. He's such a dude. Anyways, besides him, obviously, like, I don't know why for some reason, and this is just hypothetically, but every time that someone says that the letter was articulate, that it was well written, basically no grammatical errors, I can't help but think of the writer, Annie, the wife, and for anyone that doesn't know, Tommaso is Annie's, the one with the beard, freaking looks like, whatever. But he's the one that's Annie's husband. And I just think about the 3 hours that they just spent at the home, because the timeline here, right? And even though I took that video down, I was like, I'm just going to close off the blood splatter one, but I can easily find that. That's on Brian Entin's. But it's like, so Nancy travels to the local family's home, meaning their home, right? Has dinner. She takes an Uber over there. And then, you'd have to be a big dumbass, though, like to sit there and have her eat. Like, this is the stuff that goes through my mind. You have to be some big ass doofus to sit there and, Nancy have dinner at Annie's and, what's his name again? Tommaso, tomato. Someone said tomato, Tommaso's. And then, like, you hear that he just dropped her off. And then you hear that both of them dropped her off, and then all of a sudden this Nancy goes missing. Like, you have to be the biggest dumbasses to sit there and think that you wouldn't be the A1 target. but they towed or, took her vehicle, the vehicle of Annie's and whatever, his name is Tommaso there, into chain of custody or whatever right away. They they spent 3 hours taking all these pictures in luminol, you know. So there's that piece of me inside that is like, Annie is a good writer. This letter apparently is written by, according to Harvey Levin, someone articulate, someone smart, someone that's got barely and no grammatical errors in it and stuff like that. I think of, I don't know. It's just, these are the things that are just running through my head. I think of the weirdness of the blood, how it didn't go past the front part of the doorstep area and it just stops. Weird. I mean, it comes across like it's definitely like an inside job, but I think the weirdness of this case is that is the ransom just a bunch of parasites trying to siphon money, or is it truly connected? And I think people are really just torn on that part of it. It's not just like we have like this one valley to go down. It's kind of like, oh, okay, so is this legit or not? Because you have the other guy from California inserting a fake ransom thing in there, but yet I feel like it is, but I think that's where the confusing part is. And then the going back to the homes so many times, like what they're doing, it's like crazy to watch. It's like,
It's sad. It's like watching it's watching a failed prosecution in real time. You know what I mean? You can actually see the mistakes being made, and
yeah,
it's very much armchair detective of me to say that, but I mean, you don't secure a scene, release the scene, and you don't do that 4 times over and not expect a defense attorney to jump all over it, no matter what happens.
and
It's sad.
and that Sheriff Nano guy, I mean, that guy keeps saying shit and then taking it back, and then like, meaning it's 1 minute he's giving a big mouthful of information, and then it's like bullshit. Like it's almost like loose lips, and then all of a sudden he's like, kind of like, well, let's just say, family, picked her up. We'll just leave it at that. Well, dude, you just finished saying that it was like Tommaso and whatever, like, so he's confusing in himself because of his say something and then kind of take it back stuff going on. Because I remember listening to him on Ashley Drop Dead Serious there, and he was just like, it was almost like, oh, like the information was just kind of flowing out of his mouth, and I was like, ooh, you're actually telling more than I thought you would, type of thing. So he's kind of looking a little bit, like he's all over the map. Weird. It's just all weird. Melissa, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely weird. And it's, like Sharmain said, we can sit here and armchair quarterback this. None of us are detectives, but we can see it from the point of view. Well, a defense attorney is going to have fun with that due to what they're doing. As far as Shannon's message, the message been taken over a period of time, but Nancy was sharp as a tack, they said. So you don't think she would have noticed that her medicine was going missing, or she was short over, the last few months, or she wasn't, you know what I mean? I just don't think, and maybe it's possible, but they're close to Mexico, so you can go over and get medicine a lot cheaper. And I would hope that they would have a list of her medicines and maybe her picture at the border and, something like that. But if she's on blood thinners, it doesn't take much. She's elderly. My dad's elderly. He's on blood thinners, and he got a little mark. He bumped into a door, and it wasn't even like the sharp corner. It was the door itself. And he was bleeding and he didn't even know it. Like, do we know how old this blood is? Like, yes, there's blood outside her front door, but was it from the day before? do we know? Is there any proof
Oh,
of that? Stuff like that would be interesting to know.
yeah. I mean, I'm you. I'm pretty sure, like if I was to guess, it's from that night or morning or whatever time it was. You know, another thing that was brought up. Um, I remember hearing was, obviously, like the time frame. Okay, so let's see. 1:47, the doorbell camera disconnects. 2:12, the software detects person on camera, no video, right? Then at 2:28, the pacemaker app shows disconnect from phone. Like, I don't know how far you have to be for that to happen. But so you got 1:47. So garage door opens at 9:50. 1:47, doorbell camera disconnects. I'm kind of thinking about the time that they stayed there, or like a person or person stayed there before they actually left with, say, Nancy, if it, so 9:50, and then 1:47, doorbell camera disconnects, 2:12. So 47:57:07. So that's 20 something minutes when that happens. And then the pacemaker. So about what, 30 minutes or so? That they still are hanging out at the home. It's so weird. I totally feel
What I
like
deduced from it.
eh?
I said that's kind of what I deduced from it, that there was, about a 40-minute, 45-minute so time frame where it looks like something is what, when it happened. So between 1:47 and 2:30-ish. To answer Shannon real quick, she says, I was thinking, did she control her own medications or was it done by a caregiver or a carer? She did have a caregiver from what I understood. So I would assume medicine was given by the caregiver, but I don't know. But yeah, I mean, 30, 40 minutes somewhere in there, that time frame.
What the heck? Why is my thing not sharing? One sec. Oh, there we go. Share screen.
Somebody did say last night in Char's chat, I don't know if they're still here, don't even remember who said it, honestly, but I had asked that question, how far does it have to be before the pacemaker disconnects from the app? And somebody said between 30 and 40 feet, I think is what they said.
30 and 40 feet?
Yeah, you got to break a Bluetooth device, right? So it depends on the device itself, but that's the analogy I was given. So if you connect something from your phone, Bluetooth, connect a speaker or whatever, how far would you get before it would automatically disconnect? About 30 to 50. So that's kind of the mentality. And it makes perfect sense to me. But the timeline, 1:47, doorbell camera at Guthrie's home disconnects. 2:12 a.m. software detects someone on one of the other cameras, but no video is available, which blows my mind.
Right. I know, just saying.
2:28, Guthrie's pacemaker app is disconnected from her phone, and then nothing else until 11 a.m. And the churchgoer I did hear today, Megan Kelly on Fox, she was talking about it. And I guess they did go on to the church's live stream. I guess they do that. And there is a chat that you can join. And so that could be why they realized that Nancy wasn't at church. But Megan brought up a really good point. This lady was 84 years old. Was she tech savvy? Was she a chatter? Would she get on to a live stream chat during a service and chat? Unknown, but that's quite possible that they could have called the family at some point and said, hey, your mom, she wasn't at the church service today online, which is something that she regularly did since COVID. And that could have just raised red flags. And then the family apparently, or somebody went over to the house, couldn't get her to come to the door. And that's when they alerted the family, because she wasn't on the church service live stream. That's what Megan Kelly reported today. And they did go to that church, the website or the streaming service, whatever. I don't know if it's YouTube or what, but they did go, they did log on, they did enter like a chat. There is a live chat there. So it's quite possibly how people realized that something wasn't quite right and to go check on her.
Okay, so let me play this part about the blood splatter stuff. So Brian Entin was, remember, this is when 30 or 40 hours after, because they considered it like a kidnapping. Kind of makes me kind of laugh a little bit that now that I think about what the sheriff said when I was originally listening to him, when he's like, well, as soon as I heard about the blood, there's just something in my gut. Really? 2 + 2? I mean, so we'll watch or this part anyway, Sharmain. So Brian Entin walking up.
And keep in mind, this is no longer a crime scene. I mean, the sheriff made clear that it is no longer a crime scene, that they released it yesterday, and there hasn't really been anyone.
Okay, so I'll just do it.
Went out here. There was a woman who came earlier today. I don't know if it was a family member, but anyway, several different people, including one of my photographers, went up to knock on the door just to.
Okay, that's the part that bugs me. That's the part that makes me feel strange about all this. 1 second.
And said at the end of the press conference that the crime scene. I mean, the sheriff made clear that it is no longer a crime scene, that they released it yesterday, and there hasn't really been.
So the blood is only here. Okay, there's no blood in a sense past this point. Like there's nothing that's going past this front kind of entrance, which, and I don't know if this is glass. Someone said glass, but I don't know.
Been anyone out here.
Let's see what
there
it
was
looks
a
like.
woman who came earlier today. I don't know if it was a family member, but anyway, several different people, including.
So that looks like bush, right? That's not glass. Like that stuff looks like from some sort of freaking tree thing or that. Hey,
A plant, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
One of my photographers went up to knock on.
But what do you think? See, this is the one that bugs me. Is this big? Like this is like someone just went like. Do you know what I mean? It's.
So those are two different. So I wonder if we can zoom in, because is that just to go along with the dirt, but in the middle there, is that blood or is that dirt? If we can zoom in, we might be able to tell, but those droplets, they have absolutely no velocity to them whatsoever.
And there hasn't really been anyone out.
There's no movement there. They're dropping straight down, and they're not dropping from a great distance. She was only 4 foot
There was
something
a woman
tall.
who came earlier today.
1 second.
I don't know if it was a family member, but.
So sorry, Sharmain. Go ahead. Say that again, Sharmain. That last part.
There's no splash, so they're not falling from any kind of great distance. But where I think it could be dirt, if it is blood, that looks.
I'll make it bigger. Sorry.
Devastating, and because I'm racking my brain right now trying to figure out what kind of wound caused that. And that is terrifying to think of.
Yeah, my bad. I should have made the screen bigger as well. Shannon, love you. Thank you, Shannon.
Bloody nose maybe if bent over, but looking at that one spot, see what I don't know.
No, bloody nose. Yeah. Well, here, let me take down my banner for a second as well. Where are you, banner? Go right here. Okay, so is that the one that's showing? I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay, wait. Do I got this as big as I can get it? Now I do. Okay. Do you want me to play it just kind of from the start for a second again? Or like here? All right, let's see here. Come on.
Which I thought was kind of interesting because it's only Tuesday. Also new, one of my photographers was able to walk up to the house behind me. And keep in mind, this is no longer a crime scene. I mean, the sheriff made clear that it is no longer a crime scene, that they released it yesterday, and there hasn't really been any.
Okay, so we'll take a look at it like this. for a
That's
second.
definitely greenery. That's definitely a plant. And I'm wondering if it came out from inside. That's my
Right.
thought because it's coming up a little bit over
Yeah.
the threshold there. That's definitely greenery.
Unless it was like, I don't know how windy it is there. So unless it was just pieces that drove
Went
up
out here.
to
There
the
was a
front.
woman who came earlier.
See, so let's look at this.
Like a very, very, very little splash. Little bit. Wish you could see my mouse,
Today,
but you can
I don't know
see
if it
how it kind of.
Go
There's
ahead,
no
Sharmain.
velocity. So I think she was standing still, possibly bent over.
Right.
Didn't
was a family
great
member.
distance.
But anyway,
So
several different people, including one of my photographers,
okay, so
went up to knock on
this is
the
the
door.
patch
Yeah.
that bugs me.
That might be dirt.
Well, I was thinking it was dirt, but I honestly don't think it is. I don't know. I like, if I zoom that in, I can't, because then it's just going to be blurry. Right? I don't know. Let's ask chat, because I was thinking dirt, but then I'm looking at it and it really just looks like it's splatter, that it's going different directions, and it's at because
No.
at first I thought,
Around it doesn't line up with splatter. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not that, or it could be something with velocity. So somebody, like, I don't want to be graphic, but they could have coughed that out, or and then drops. I don't want to be graphic, but it has velocity to it, and it's like a spray. Whereas
yeah,
the
it's like a
other that's
spray.
on top of it is a direct drop. There's very little splash to the bigger drop. So it's either like a sneeze when she was
Right.
completely sitting down,
Yeah.
or I think it's possibly a bit of dirt. I hope it's a bit of dirt because that's disturbing.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that there's like what looks like little pebbles, like in the stonery of the entrance, because you can kind of see to the left side there, like it looks like little, I don't know, like little bubbles in the stonery. But I yeah, like, I don't know, I was thinking same thing, like nosebleed. I don't know. I just It's just like, to me, this one kind of stands out, of course, because it's the biggest, piece of blood with a bunch of droplets around it. So it maybe could have been when somebody coughs out of their mouth, and then it's like, you know, and then a bunch of blood's coming out of their mouth, and then they cough it up, and you know how it is, sprays.
I would believe that it's from a nosebleed and sneezing before I believe it's from a cough. And the reason being, if it's from a cough, she's got a serious problem.
Well, and that's the devastating part, but that's not from that's not from, I don't know. If it's from a sneeze, you would think, I mean, imagine yourself sneezing. Do you bend over and sneeze straight down? I don't. If I'm not covering my mouth, then it's going to spray in front of me, which is the purpose of covering your mouth. So it doesn't get, this is on the ground. So that's why I think if she
There
was
hasn't
bent over and cut and coughed.
really been anyone out
I mean,
here. There was
there is
a woman who
two,
came earlier today. I don't know if it was a family
which
member,
is,
but anyway,
where's the two?
several different people, including one of my photographers.
Yeah, okay, so that's kind of like the first, like, bigger one here as well. When you kind of see the camera coming up, and then you
went up to
see
knock.
like that.
There could be some kind of again, I don't want to be graphic, but there could be some kind of like a note or a footprint or some kind of print that caused those particular spots to be spread out a little bit more, smear, if you will. Just my thoughts
But
on
what
what
do
we're
you
looking at.
but what do you guys make of the fact of, oh, I got the chat thing up there. Let me take that down so you guys can see better. What do you think of the fact that the blood, like it's like, I remember when Brian Entin was talking about this, it's just like right in this, like this walking area to the door. It's not like there's a bunch of blood spots outside, like past that. It's like, that's what strikes me as strange. And that's just going on what was said, right? Is that it was kind of like contained to this specific more area. And it's not, it's not like if you haul someone over your shoulder, whip them in a car, because of course you'd see more blood, like blood marks if someone's bleeding. Whereas it's kind of like, why does it just kind of stop there at the front entrance? I mean, I'm just
Here's
going
an-
again. Hi, Nova. Hi,
Sorry.
Nova.
Is there, I don't even know. I realize that this is kind of an upscale neighborhood and there might not be a whole lot of neighbors close by, but has nobody talked about any kind of ring door cameras or
Yeah. Yeah.
anything from anywhere else in the neighborhood? Because you're not going to sneak an 84-year-old,
hmm
4 foot something bleeding woman out without being spotted on some kind of camera. Is this another case like Sebastian where there's no cameras around? You can't call it
Well,
like Jack and because they're rural. This isn't rural.
Well, I was going to say, so if we look at like when I was watching a news clip the other day and they did like a drone shot over top, I actually thought that the houses were actually further apart than what they actually were. So let me put it this way. It's kind of like the houses aren't actually that far. There's one in the back, but it's just because of all the brush and that, remember the no light thing and stuff like that. So obviously that makes it a lot darker.
Oh,
But
pollution ordinance.
yeah, but it's one of those things, Charmaine, like to me, if you look at her house and then put her house beside her house, that's where the next house would be. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's kind of like I wish I had that video up because I was watching it the other night and I've watched so many that I don't remember which one it was on especially, but maybe we'll come across it. But it was like, here's her house, then it's kind of like bushes and cacti, and then here's the other house. So it's like when you look down at it, it's like they're not on top of each other for sure. There's some space between them, but it's not as spacey as what I thought it was until I saw the footage coming from up top. But in saying that, camera wise, at that time of night, eh, prob not too much. I'm thinking, you know,
But even lights, like car lights, vehicle lights, like
right?
the
Because
person responsible for this did not do it in pitch black. They had to have some kind, and I'm not saying that
right,
there's a mistake on law enforcement's part, but I'm wondering if there is, and there probably is ring camera footage, but whether or not they saw anything, who knows? But it could be just like a glimpse of a taillight that could
right,
even
right.
identify the direction of travel. And I'm sure law
Right.
enforcement's all over it, right? We have all the faith in the world that these investigators are all over this stuff.
I
100%.
yeah. I figure by day, like Valentine's Day or something, that they're gonna come back and be like, you know what? Maybe I should talk to that neighbor, maybe that I didn't talk to this time. Maybe I will. It's just so strange to me how this is all coming down, and it just reminds me of a start of a fuck up. Releasing a crime scene, which as soon as that happens, then it becomes like contaminated. Once they take back off those evidence markers after 30, 40 hours, like as we saw there, Brian Entin and his cameraman and that, just lollygagging up there because they can, check out the blood. And, when he actually was reporting that blood. I actually couldn't believe that was actually being shown, that, like, that. I don't know. I just was like, really? Like, you literally were able to walk up to the front of the house and show us all the blood splatter? I don't know. It just seemed kind of crazy to me. We think of, I know that this was mentioned on somebody else's channel, but, when you think of Brian Koberger's case, and then you think of the police car that was there, right? So basically it was like, hey, the crime scene's down, but we got the police car here and you guys can't come on here. Like, stay away type of thing. I just can't believe that it was so fast handed back to the family. And yeah, a big fuck up. I mean, he admitted it was a fuck up, basically, without saying fuck up. But still, it's crazy.
But even if they released it back to the family, I feel like the family should have said, hey, all of these people are out here and there's still blood out here on the porch. Maybe we should have a security officer out here, not necessarily law enforcement, but I don't know, to each their own, I guess. But I would have at least had some sort of security guard out there. But in looking at that blood, is there any way you can pull that back up real quick and play the video up until a certain point, and I'll tell you when to stop it, because I noticed something on the door that I wanted to point out. But that's not a lot of blood. And it's like, did she have a nosebleed? Did, she was on blood thinners and she had thin skin. She's elderly. Did she, hit her hand or arm on the archway or whatever coming into the house, right? And it took a minute to get down her arm to start bleeding. Like, there's a bunch of different things about it, but we have to remember, or at least I would hope so. I hope to God that they already swabbed all these, and that's why they look so different. I do believe that's splatter, but what the splatter is from, I don't know. Okay, play that, and I will tell you when to stop.
Clear that it is no longer a crime scene, that they released it yesterday.
Okay, at the bottom of the door, right under the doorknob, if you look at the threshold there, there's what looks like a piece missing from the stone. And it looks pretty fresh because it's white.
You're talking about that. I see what piece you're talking about. You're talking about this right here, if you can see my mouse.
And that's white, so that tells me it's somewhat fresh. It's not, 30 years old.
That what's fresh?
That missing
marking?
Yeah, that
missing
mark.
There hasn't really been anyone out here.
It's hard. Let's see.
There was a woman who came earlier today.
Back up again.
I don't know if it was a family member, but anyway, several.
Does he bring it back up enough?
I'm not sure if he does.
Including one of my photographers.
Kind of misses it, doesn't he?
Photographers went up to knock on the door just to see if anyone was home.
Oh no, let's say
home because
it's too hard to try to stop that on a video. Because I see, because where it's past the mat here.
I don't know if it was a family member, but anyway, several different people, including one of my photographers, went up to knock on the door just to see if anyone was
trying to do it.
Home.
I think it's just out of range.
I think it's right where his name Brian Entin is. I think it's like right there where his name is.
Released it yesterday, and there hasn't really been anyone out here. There was a woman who came earlier today. I don't know if it was a family member, but anyway, several different people, including one of my photographers, went up to knock on the door just to see if anyone was home.
Yeah, it's like right behind his name.
But either way, you've got people trampling all over this before they resecure it. Like,
yeah,
I'm not trying to be mean to law enforcement, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to let people trample all over this. And is that like an Amazon package on the side? Like family isn't even picking up her mail. Like, what? I know I see weird things, but that
I didn't even notice.
For being a medic, that is not a lot of blood. It looks like a lot more than it really is. It's really not as much as people believe it to be.
I mean, definitely if I saw that myself, I'd be like, oh, fuck. like, what the heck happened? Like, so I wouldn't deem it as a lot, but I still deem it as a lot in my eyes. If I was to
Well,
walk
yeah.
up on that and see it, I'd be like, what the fuck?
I meant volume wise, it's not a lot of
Yeah.
blood. So it's not like a life threatening amount of blood. But yes, I mean, if I walked up, I'd be like, what the fuck happened? Who got hurt? You know, I'd be worried, but it's not like a life threatening amount.
Yeah, but what? It's still, again, though, why is it only there? Like, why is it only there? 1 second here.
Well, I think as I think this is just my opinion, but it looks to me like they took her straight out the front door, and
Right.
as soon as they got her past the threshold, maybe she, maybe she had coughed or sneezed, like people are saying, and had a nosebleed and kept walking with the droplets
Well, that's
coming down.
but why did the droplets just stop? That's what Brian Entin was talking about. Like,
Bringing her own hand up to stop the bleeding, or maybe her captor realized that she was bleeding and, like, covered her nose or something. I mean, who knows, really?
hey, Nova. Not sure that would cause that area of smaller spatter, though. Okay. I'm gonna go. I want to go off of this for a second. Hold on. Stop screen. Then I'm gonna go back to the other one. So this is the one. Okay. So this is that Maureen O'Connell. This is where she says Samantha for she obviously catches herself. I'm sorry, but that guy, he's strange. That guy that's to the left of her. I don't know why, but he just had a hard time watching him or listening to
Once
him.
that sheriff's deputy saw that blood, it should have been, we're shutting it down, everybody out, don't touch anything, etc. Some law enforcement agencies have a different set of protocols than the FBI does, but in California, almost all the police departments, we all work together. We have a beautiful relationship with all these different entities, and it's really a wonderful thing to see.
So Sharmain, in this particular picture, so although it looks, the house is kind of singular by itself in a sense, but really there's a neighbor just out of camera shot on either side, where the next neighbor is. So on the left hand side, looking at, it's straight on where Maureen's face is. Just above that is where the next home is. Just it would be up in the corner, kind of. And then same with this one on the right hand side. So that's why I thought, oh, these houses aren't as far as I thought that they were apart.
Yeah, but
then,
border security, that border officer who Brian Entin,
yeah,
they went into, it's not a wooded area or whatever, but they went back behind where kind of the
I know.
greenery is and stuff, and you really don't have a clear line of vision to anywhere or from anywhere, especially at night if it's pitch black.
Yeah. I wish I could, darn it, find that video, because it was nice, and it was a nice view of over top of to really give the look of what it looks like from above to the back to the person that's behind her house. I think that they feel like, if the person behind this home had a camera, that would be probably the best line of sight, from any of the homes. And that was because it kind of had like this clearing. And I don't know, it kind of reminded me of a cul-de-sac a little bit, where that next house is behind her. But I think that they were just kind of talking about that was probably, if that home did have a camera, to maybe capture, because I know that we've heard that it's the back door that was, kicked in or whatever, basically the damaged door. That's where like those floodlights are too in the back. So I wonder if that neighbor has any working cameras. I mean, obviously, we're not going to know that. because they're not going to give us that information. But this one here, guys,
But
when I
when we
first
come
heard
in,
this,
we have, as I said,
Oh,
very
okay,
strict protocols that we do not deviate from at all. And you know, you saw that when the cavalry rolled in to Nancy's house that day, and people have been asking me ever since, why did they take the car then, you know, the other night? And I said, well, because when the FBI comes on, we want to look at the warrant. What's in the warrant? The warrant probably said, yes, search the entire residence, the curtilage, any outbuildings, any vehicles, and you know the drill. You've helped with those many times yourself. And then when they said, did you guys already process this car? How did it get back here? And they said, no, well, we didn't think it was part of it. That's probably why. That was the impetus behind that car being processed.
All right, Special Agent, real life is so different from the movies. I mean, you know that. I know it a little bit. Ransom notes are actually not common in modern day kidnappings. And I'm curious, in this country, not South America, not Mexico, but in the United States, how often in your experience does the kidnapper get the money and also avoid apprehension? Because I never saw it.
No, they're not good at avoiding apprehension. That's the good news for the most part. But I worked narcotics and gangs in Los Angeles for 19 years, so I saw some of those kidnappings that you would traditionally see more of in South America. Like it's very common if I have 2 kilos of cocaine and it either gets ripped off or the police sees it, I'm still on the hook to pay that dealer back for that money. And I've got to come up with it really quickly. So that was one of the type of kidnappings we happened to see. But it's interesting, Trey, because all the really seasoned homicide detectives and the people you
Can
really
you stop
respect
it there a
work that
second?
you know do a fantastic job. One thing all of them said in all the
So I don't know if you can go back to where they had that up, but the deadline was for Thursday, and then the next deadline was for Monday. A true kidnapper, in my opinion, and I've never dealt with a true kidnapper, so take that for what it's worth. But I don't see that they would give 2 deadlines.
Well, that's the strange part of it all. Like, not only is that strange, but the ransom didn't even come out till the second day, right? At nighttime or whatever, about when it was sent off, I guess, to the local stations. Like, you know, like normally you would think that there would be some sort of ransom, you know, pretty much that day saying that you're, you know, want a ransom. But the ransom, they said, didn't come out till like the second day in the evening time. You know, kind of weird. I mean, at least.
I mean, if I'm going to kidnap somebody, I'm not going to wait for 24 hours or whatever, 12 hours even. I'm going to get them to wherever I'm going to keep that person. Then I'm going to send the ransom. But I'm not going to, you know, these are my demands. Here's when it needs done by. End communication. Here's proof of life, whatever. But to give 2 deadlines that are a couple of days apart. So Thursday, so then you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you know what, 4 days apart. That doesn't make sense.
Well, that's why you kind of wonder, well, is this an afterthought? And then it's a red herring, a misdirect to make it seem like it's this when really it's over here. That's what
I mean, it's like, you know, yes, it's connected, but it's more of a distraction than an actual connection.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Sharmain? I mean, for the first even ransom to come out, like I said, was like the second day in the evening. And then do you think it might be like one of these afterthoughts, like it's over here, but really we're going to try to misdirect with this whole, because this whole ransom thing to me is weird, and I'm not an expert by no means, but it's still strange because there are tons of cases, and usually it's kind of like, you know what, we have this person, da, 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 and you would kind of hear about that right away, and then you get a deadline. None of this, what seems like just cat and mouse of, well, let me just raise the give 2 deadlines, let's raise up the money that we want. It just seems like a game. Like, but
I absolutely think that it's a misdirection and afterthought, 100%.
mhm,
100%.
yeah. So yeah, it just comes off
Shannon
like a
even
diversion. Go ahead.
What?
I think it was Shannon said, in my opinion, a real kidnapper isn't going to give an inch. Exactly my point. Like, they're not going to say, well, we're not going to give you proof of life, but it's 1 million. No, it's 4 million. No, it's 6 million. Well, it's this deadline. No, it's that deadline. That's too much communication. That's too many chances of getting caught.
Not just that, when you have a real true ransom, they're going to give proof of life because they want the money. It makes no sense to not give proof of life and still expect $6 million.
Right. Right.
It's the
I know.
dumbest. This could go up on the dumbest criminals ever.
No,
But
Daniel has that in Canada, at least anyway. When he gets
oh yeah,
charged.
that's yet to be seen. But this here, if and we don't know if they have given proof of life or not. Like, who knows? But if
They
they
haven't.
didn't, then like, how do you
Yeah.
know they haven't?
Because
Just because it's been reported.
well, right. But I mean, I'm sure that people
I'm
would
sure they
know.
would have said it.
Yeah. Let me say this. I can't see them not, like, meaning, and just those weird words she was using, celebrate, peace, valuable, I don't know. It just doesn't, nothing we've ever heard at all is even.
Right. So, but except for today's, to me, like what she said today gave me a different feeling than what she said yesterday or the day before.
Right. I know, because the other one came off like almost like what a lot of people thought. Well, it was almost coming across like, what, accident happened,
Eulogy.
we'll let you know where your mom's body is and stuff. Like, that's how it came across it. Because again, celebrate. I mean, the words were odd how it was done. Now, it did cross my mind as well, as if they were told to kind of say that, in a sense of what to put out. Maybe not. But
But do
yeah.
you really think the FBI wouldn't say, we want you to plead for her return or plead for proof of life? Not, we want you to say this, and it's so scripted it sounds like a eulogy?
That's what it came across like, pretty much.
Now, I agree.
Yesterday.
Savannah's one today sounded a lot more
Different, the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like exactly opposite of what it sounded like. I mean, there's already enough weird twists and turns, and then everyone listens to that, and then all of a sudden today it's like, oh, like Savannah sounds so much more stronger today, and and then came across like, and it doesn't matter what case you watch, okay? Whenever there's no body, everyone, Sebastian Rogers was soft, in Jack and Lily's case, certain family members are, that they're alive, they're alive, they're alive. Nobody wants to think the worst. They, no matter what, Savannah or whatever, the rest of the family, whatever, they're gonna always, no matter what, gonna say, that they believe in their hearts that they're still alive, because it's that hope. It's still that hope, right? So maybe that's just her. I don't know. I mean, this case is so weird right now. Honestly, is she alive? Likelihood. But does this have some potential to it? Yeah. Uh, but I don't think so. I think that the whole blood thing, I don't know. I don't think that she's alive. But I'm torn. I'm still torn because you want her to be. You don't want to look at this lovely mother on the screen, who looks so much like her, Savannah. You just don't even want to imagine that somebody would be so cruel to someone that's 84 years old and do this shit to, but there are.
I mean, I think we can all agree that we hope and pray that she's still alive and still with us. But if you look at this statistically,
Right.
then that's a little bit of a different story.
Yeah. If there wasn't the blood, probably, I think I would be a little bit more hopeful.
Agreed.
If it wasn't for the blood splatter stuff. Yeah, then I would be more hopeful. But what's weird about it is this whole ransom, the way it's being, the whole weirdness of how they're sending the notes, how it took them almost 2 days basically into the second day before they even sent anything about money. Then they up the money. And then it's like, well, hey, if you drop, and deliver the money into the Bitcoin, well, within 12 hours, like, fuck, like, I'd be sitting there going like this, right, to them dudes. Because I don't believe for 1 second, if they don't show proof of life, then she's not there. If they can't even, like, if you really want $6 million dollars, you got to give something, a little piece of something.
In my opinion, if they truly had Nancy, they would give proof of life because they want that 6 million, right?
Absolutely.
They're going to, you're not going to have to ask for it. They're going to be like, here it is. Here's proof she's alive. Oh, you want today's newspaper? Here, let me get a picture, because they want the money.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the screen. Oh, did you just do that? Sharmain's playing around over there. What you got there, Sharmain?
Found this. Brian Entin, new statement from Pima Sheriff says they are following up on new leads and we can expect to see active law enforcement presence at the Guthrie residences. Plural. So far, I have not noticed anything at Nancy or Annie's house.
Yeah, definitely.
But don't worry, because we got JLR and Dolly on the scene over there. I'll give you just well, let me finish playing out that clip though, because I wanted you guys to hear that. Let me go back. Add to stage. There we go. Let me finish playing this part.
Detectives and the people you really respect at work that do a fantastic job. One thing all of them said in all these kidnapping cases that we worked was they would ask the question, does this offender have a predisposition or a proclivity toward violence? And in this case with Nancy, the answer is a resounding yes. And they say that if that's how this case starts,
that's how it ends.
We're in a world of hurt.
Let me ask you about that. Let me stay with the psychology of it. Profilers, behavioral scientists, they can be incredibly helpful. I use them, but I typically use them when I had run out of leads or did not have a prime suspect in mind. Can they still be helpful here in this case under these facts?
Absolutely, 100%. And one of the best profilers, or two of the best, are two of my dearest friends. And I co-host a podcast with one of them who I was just on the phone with, because one of these letters, this last one, is addressed Dear Samantha, not to anybody else. And we know Samantha's got the money, but I thought that was strange. So I called him and he thought it was very telling that it's Dear Samantha. What kidnapper who injured your mother is going to say, or Savannah, what kidnapper is going to say dear? That's a very, that one word jumped out at me. I immediately got on the phone with him and I didn't tell him what was surprising. And that jumped out to him also. So I think, Trey, to your point or your question, we technically would use them further on down an investigation also. I think it's much more of a practice now to do it early on because they can be so impactful in such a powerful way. So yes, they're working with every aspect of this.
Well, I mean, in a kidnapping case, time is so important. I might bring them in unless I had an immediate suspect, like a husband, like a boyfriend, which frequently it is. I would take advantage. And by the way, just so the whole world knows, the FBI is willing to help state and local law enforcement, even if it's not going to be prosecuted in federal court. So if there's ever a doubt, bring them in.
I still feel like he could be related to Aspen Connor. Just saying. As soon as I saw the word alien, that was always a running joke. Oh, you guys wouldn't know probably what I'm talking about. Not well, you guys do. But this is maybe some of the chat. I don't know. He just struck me as strange, this man, a little bit. But she screwed up the name and kept saying Samantha at first. But that was the first time last night when I heard that. I was like, wait, I haven't heard. So she's saying on the last note that it was Dear Savannah. And I don't know if that was something that was meant to come out, like a slip or whatever. If it was, I hadn't heard it at all up until last night when I'm listening to this. And I was like, wait, what? And then she says like what kidnapper says Dear Savannah? What do you guys think about that?
It just illustrates that it's somebody that they know.
That's how yeah.
It's I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but it's obvious to me that it's somebody that they know, and the ransom, not red herring is not the right word for it, but it's definitely a distraction. It was an afterthought. And I know that, they're trying to induce fear, and they're not going to give proof of life until they give a deadline, and they're, looking for $6 million. And to get $6 million, like look at even Israel Keys. He had already murdered the girl, but he did things he put makeup on her and stuff to give proof of life to get the money. Like these, I don't know. That's just what I think.
I have to agree. It sounds too personal. That's, somebody who doesn't have any connection would just say, Savannah, we have your mother. Here's our demands. It wouldn't be, well, Dear Savannah, this isn't a letter, okay? Dear is like a term of endearment. Somebody you're close with, somebody something like that.
My husband had the nerve when I was telling him about this when I was on my lunch, and I was sitting here telling him about this whole Dear Savannah thing, and he's like, well, that doesn't prove that. He goes, I'm sure that some kidnappers might put that. I'm like, are you my husband? Like, seriously? Like, it's like, if I say the sky is blue right now, are you going to say it's like green, red? It's like, come on, no one, kidnappers, serious kidnappers. Dear Savannah, how are you doing today? Just to let you know that your mother's sitting there strapped up in whatever chair, but don't worry, Savannah, we're giving her meds and stuff. Like, what the fuck? No. Dear Savannah. No. So I thought that was, again, just another reason to believe that it's more. And do you guys ever sit there like I do, and I just sit there and I just talk to AI and plunk it in there, and I just say, give me your thoughts, AI, on a kidnapper putting in Dear Savannah. And then, of course, because it knows, because I've been putting stuff in there, but because of obviously the case going on in the news articles, whatever, it will give reasons for, why it would sound, and maybe options, like maybe someone trying to mislead, and making it seem like it's more personal type of idea. But I always find, do you guys ever do that? Just throw all that shit, ask AI basically to give you an answer, common sense.
How I feel about AI. The answer to that is no. I've become quite fond of the AI summarizing the group chats. That's funny. Or do, photo edits and stuff with AI,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
use it in jest, but I still want to be able to use my own brain to analyze things, to punctuate things. I am
Yeah,
afraid
but
of AI.
you can have both, the best
I
of
just
both worlds.
can't do
Because
it. If you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. And
no, we're too old for that shit right now. Maybe the younger crowd. Yeah, no. It was bugging me, so I Googled it. I just like putting in my different thoughts into AI and then sitting there, and going, because again, Sharmain, it's like, oh, hey, Rob, that's exactly what I was thinking, or oh, I didn't think of that, I just, basically it's like my crystal ball saying, go ahead and give me the answers. Tell me exactly where Jack and Lily are. Tell us where Nancy is. Go on. Come on, AI. One day you're
I
gonna
know
get that good.
I know that in the first ransom letter, there were two items mentioned
Right. The
from
watch Apple.
inside the house. So I
You
don't
talking
know
about
that
the
we know
Apple Watch?
what they are. What?
What items are you talking about?
Well, they never named the items, but the first ransom notes reference two items from inside Nancy's house that were missing or
Hmm.
something. So from like the inside the crime scene, just to give verification that they had been inside the house. But again, that means nothing. That just comes right back to somebody they know. And that,
That's
I mean, she
me
had a
too.
pool person to take care of the swimming pool. She had a gardener. She had a caretaker. There are people that it might not be the son-in-law.
Might not.
It might
Absolutely.
not be. Yeah.
It might seem that way a little bit because but again, it kind of seems ridiculous to think that, a teacher and, this smart book writer sister, Annie, there, that they would take her home. And then, you know what? We're a couple hours away from, our ransom and
Well,
our taking.
supposedly there was a fight that night. I heard that today. I forget where I heard that. It was not
Mm,
like JLR. The only people I have watched is news stations
mm.
and like legitimate news stations like CNN, Fox, things like that. But one of them today said that there was a fight that night. And I wish I could remember which one now.
Well, l- let
Could
me
go
ask
back
you a
and get
question.
it. But it seems again, when I say somebody close to her, she's got several people, not just family. And so it still feels to me like it's an inside job. Somebody who has intimate knowledge of her and her home, whether that
Well,
be the son-in-law or the caretaker or even somebody that like the caretaker spoke to in depth with about her.
what let me ask you guys both this. If you were betting people, which right now you are, do you think that financially there was any issues with Annie's household and her husband? Like, like obviously Savannah, makes her good money, but people always can spend beyond their means. But do you think, like, if there was an argument, but do you think, if you were just guessing, do you think that there was any sort of money issues going on in that household at all? Because the root of all this is going to be money, regardless. It's going to be money, regardless if it's the ransom way or an inheritance way. It's the root of it's going to be money. Do you guys think that the Annie and her husband financially, were well off, or that they were? I don't know.
I don't think that they were well off, but I did hear last night somebody in my chat, a few people in my chat said that Savannah purchased that house for her. So
Oh,
I can't, unless they remortgaged it or something. Like, you never know. You never know. But just like they had me
yeah.
pull up a power of attorney, and it turns out it didn't have anything to do with Nancy's estate. So I mean, people are speculating just like every case.
Yeah.
But I think that, from my understanding, Savannah did purchase that house, And I really don't think there was an excerpt out of Annie's book that was shared. Was it Annie's book or maybe it was
Probably.
Savannah's book? I don't remember. But
Oh,
it
does
was
she have a book too? Does Savannah have a book?
speaking about her sister and about the relationship they had, and I just don't. Maybe they wouldn't put it in a book, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have
I
to
don't
go
know.
get Harley. He has mind outside.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see.
But
here.
somebody else in the chat last night said that Savannah grew up in that house. So if Savannah and her siblings grew up in that house, then how did Savannah buy it for her? Like that?
No.
I have.
Savannah bought Annie's house, not Nancy's house.
Oh, okay. Annie's house. Well, okay, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like there's a possibility that there could be financial issues, but I mean, in all honesty, if any one of us were to go missing, how many of us have somebody in our family that's got some sort of financial issues? So is that uncommon? I wouldn't think so. But again, whether it, like you said, whether it's about the inheritance or whether it's about this ransom, it all boils down, in my opinion, to money in one way or another.
Yeah. And so I just Googled that. So 6 million USD, about 85 Bitcoin. Crazy, right? This whole Bitcoin thing, I don't actually understand it. I refuse to even I didn't care about it. Bitcoin, because it's like money that's not to do with the bank or this or that, and it's used in the world of, like in the internet, right?
Yeah, I
It's like,
pissed a friend of mine off because he invested in Bitcoin. He's like, "Oh, I've got, so many of them and it's worth this much." And I said, "Oh, so you're invested in Monopoly money?" It's not Monopoly money. I said, "Well, it's not real money because I can't go to a bank and take it out either."
well,
Yeah,
exactly.
he got real mad at me.
You're using it within the internet, like, like, hey, I'll trade you like freaking a Bitcoin for a day at a hotel or something, or a little portion of a Bitcoin equals, like you can do shit with it. It's just weird. I'm not into that weird internet-y shit. I just like money, paycheck, in bank, blah blah blah. Not some. I mean, maybe if I was younger and doing stuff like that, I might be inclined to care about it, but don't overly know much about it. Didn't even know that. I meant to Google that, actually. To be honest, I meant to Google what Bitcoin was in $6 million. Like, it sounds like a drop, right? Like, here's 85 Bitcoin. So weird. I don't know what something might cost or what you would trade. Yeah, don't know.
My family, if I got kidnapped, would be like, "Well, you might as well kill her because we ain't paying to get her back." Like, and that's not them being mean. I mean, we've talked about it, and we're like, "Well, what would happen if one of us was kidnapped? Would we pay it?" And we're like, "Nope." Because statistically, you're going to pay it and you're still not going to get that person back alive. So why pay it?
Yeah. Let's
in 2010 you could buy a Bitcoin for 50 cents. So, I mean, I wish I would have grabbed a couple of them. Because then you trade them on the stock market, and if you're or something, and if it's worth that much money, and I would just take the money and run at this point where they're worth so much. Yeah.
Right. I know that they're worth, like, yeah, is that crazy? Frick me. Well, let's just check in for a sec, guys. Let's see oh, look at that. Remember when was it Pascal that was making fun of when JLR was like had the cameras facing those three vehicles at
he wasn't making fun of it. He was just like,
he was making fun.
This is what you guys want to do? You want to sit here and watch the screen with nothing happening? It was funny.
I literally do it all the time. I'll sit there because I'm listening. I'm just listening to the voices around. So let's see. Let's take a look. Is this JLR's one that I'm facing? Oh, well, that's JLR's. Okay. I thought I was on Dolly's for a sec, but okay. Let's see. Let's see what's going on. How many does he have watching? Let's see. Where's? Oh, I got to turn the volume up. Come on now. Anything going on here? I don't hear no sound. JLR must be taking a break. Fell asleep. What's going on here? Just like I got the sound up, but look at that chat going. How many people has he got? He like every time like he was like, oh, there's Dolly. 1 second, I'll come back to you, Dolly.
Earlier
Or maybe I'll go to
today,
Dolly because Dolly's actually.
37.
Huh? Yeah, like
Earlier today,
he's sitting.
37,000.
Yeah, yeah. When I looked, it was like 26,000. And is this Dolly? No, is this Dolly? Yeah, that's
I
Dolly.
do
Let's see
too.
what
but
Dolly said.
When I'm watching true crime or anything, I mean, his coverage of the Diddy trial was bar none the best. He did phenomenal.
Who's Dolly's? Pascal?
No, Pascal.
Who's?
Pascal.
Yeah. You know what? I haven't
You
watched it in a
snore,
while.
wake yourself up. That ain't good. That ain't good.
Let's see what's going on. I'm just taking a boo. Oops. Yeah, his camera's basically just facing that house.
What
At the
happened to
time,
their
it was
light
like
ordinance?
JLR.
Because they're-
Yeah. What about their light pollution going on? Here.
an awful lot of lights when the cops couldn't even bring their lights in. Sorry, I had to be a smart ass.
Let's see. How many does Dolly have in his right now? Dolly has it says started seeing Dolly's been sitting around 2,000 something. Unless I need to refresh. No, I'll hit refresh. Let me see. See if it sometimes you have to refresh, but let me just see if those numbers change. No.
Just show you go jail to $20 a night, but you'll probably get stabbed. Oh Lord, I don't want that. Maybe to help out with some flowers. Well, thank you, Pat.
All right. Well, thank you, Dolly. Have a good time there. So he just got there today. Dolly did. Oh, he's getting ready to wrap it up there. No sense in going to JLR. What I want. Oh, I wonder if this is the one that has it. Let me see if
People are saying that Brian Entin did an update here 20 minutes ago or so.
Oh, let me go take a look. Did he? Brian Entin. Let's take a look. Let's see what Brian Entin is munches. That's how I feel about Brian Entin. He's got like these perfect lips, nice salt pepper hair. Okay, 1 hour ago. Okay, you guys want to see that? Share screen, Brian Entin. Share.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my show. Really, really appreciate it. I appreciate all the support. I've been seeing all your messages. Thank you so much. Please click to subscribe. Of course, I'm still here in Arizona, in Tucson, outside Nancy Guthrie's house. The mystery just seems to deepen. I mean, there's a lot of everybody's asking me. I mean, friends who I haven't heard from in like years are texting me, what's going on with the case? I mean, my mom is texting me constantly. What do you know that we don't know? I mean, honestly, it's still very mysterious about what is actually going on behind the scenes and what police may know and what they may not know. And is there a possibility that police literally don't know anything and that they're following up on different leads, but they have nothing concrete? That is possible, especially after what Savannah Guthrie said in her latest video that she just posted to Instagram, asking the public for help. Listen to what Savannah said.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
So pretty clear that Savannah is saying that they still need help finding Nancy. And she said, we are in an hour of desperation and we need your help. She said it several times. We need your help. And it seemed more genuine, should I say? I mean, not that Savannah's ever not genuine, but, you know, you could tell that some of those first videos that looked almost more like hostage videos with her and her siblings, that they were very much crafted in part by the FBI. And it seemed like this video was more just off the cuff and sort of the Savannah Guthrie that we all feel like we know from the Today Show and just from her social media. It seemed more just like her and genuine. And the fact that she's saying they need help makes you wonder where things stand. Of course, there have been these letters that have come in, which I've talked about, and I'll kind of just go back for you and give you a little bit of the backstory before. I'm going to talk to retired FBI agent Steve Moore in a minute, which you're going to hear. And it was a really interesting conversation, especially what he had to say about the search that we saw happening at Annie Guthrie's house, which is Savannah's sister. So that's coming in a second. But let me just go back to the letters, tell you everything that I know. First letter we found out about Tuesday of last week. I believe that Savannah was told about it based on sources that I have on Monday night of last week. And in that letter, that is when there were the specifics about things at the house, the Apple iWatch and the floodlight. And also there was the ransom. There was pay us $4 million by Thursday at 5 p.m. Or pay us $6 million by Monday. Those were the deadlines. Then came the second letter at the end of the week, which we know went to KOLD TV, which the news director was very clear to say is not a ransom letter. There was no demand for money in that letter, from what I have been told. But there was a very specific message in that letter that related back to the previous letter, which sort of connected the two. And I am told it was a grim message, which could explain why Savannah Guthrie was just so sad and said, we've received your this in her message before this most recent one. In this, remember this message, look at this message.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us and we will pay.
So that was clearly, or at least appears to be, Savannah reacting to the second note that came in. And now the tone seems to have changed again, which makes me wonder, is there a possibility, and I think there is a possibility, that these ransom notes are unrelated to what's really going on here, that these ransom notes are just some jerk somewhere trying to extort money out of the Guthries, and that what really happened to Nancy may have nothing to do with whoever's writing the ransom letters. I think that is a possibility based on everything that I'm hearing. I don't think that that's for sure. They wouldn't have made Savannah create those emotional videos if they didn't believe that there was a possibility that those letters were legit. But just based on Savannah's most recent video, asking the public for help, it makes me wonder, based on all these other things that I know, if the ransom letters have nothing to do with the actual disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. And they still may. They still may. So little backtrack just of what happened over the weekend. If you missed my previous episode, then I'm going to get into Steve where the real news stuff is. But over the weekend, Friday night, we of course saw the big FBI search here at the house where they closed the roads. Saturday night, we saw the 3 deputies show up to Savannah's sister's house. Annie Guthrie showed up there late at night. We're there for 3 hours taking pictures inside the house. And what I'm going to ask Steve about, which is so interesting, is now NBC News is reporting that the Guthrie family consented to that search at Annie's house. We went to the courthouse looking for the warrants related to that, and we were told there are no warrants. Now, could they just be sealed? Sorry, this is my IFB, by the way, for my TV job, if you're wondering what that is, hanging by my neck, which is how you listen to the anchors. But we were told there were no warrants, and you're going to hear Steve explain it, but it's unusual if they were really suspicious of something that happened at Annie Guthrie's house, that they would just go with consent and not also get a warrant. And Steve will explain why. I'm joined now by Steve Moore, retired FBI agent. We've been talking about this case a lot for the last week, and I can't believe it's now more than a week, Steve. And we've got this deadline. The second deadline, and I've learned the first deadline of last Thursday was for $4 million. This deadline, they said $6 million. What do you think is happening right now? I mean, that's what everybody wants. It's quiet right now. What do you think is going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's only quiet where you're standing, because somewhere they are getting ready to transmit ransom. And this is going to be tough because you have to come up with $6 million cash. Doesn't matter how much you're worth. I mean, most people who are wealthy have their money invested or tied up in assets, things like that. It's going to take a lot of work to free up $6 million and then get it into a means to transmit it to Bitcoin. So there is a lot of work going on, and the FBI is also preparing for the payment of, and a lot's going on.
The FBI special agent in charge made clear the other day that, at the end of the day, it's up to the family whether they pay the ransom and whether they release these messages, and they guide them, but it's their decision.
Right.
If you were working the case and working with them, I mean, what would you be telling them right now behind the scenes?
I would be like the agent in charge there, telling them it's your decision. I would be, however, giving them my every bit of the wisdom that I had, every bit of the experience I had, and giving them advice based on that, not binding advice, obviously. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, and those things are going to affect what the FBI is going to recommend. I don't see any indication here of any divide between the FBI and the family, which is always a risk. The FBI says if you do this, if you don't pay, or if you do pay, it's the worst possible scenario. And the family says, I'm going to do opposite because I just have a feeling, or I'm going to pay because I don't, and this is legitimate, I don't want to.
I just have to laugh for a second. Did you guys see JLR walk behind? Did you guys notice that? No? Was I the only one? No? Yeah. Anyways, that was JLR in the red shorts.
I did not know.
Yeah, I was like, if anyone doesn't know JLR, but in Delphi, do you remember when he's like, Richard? What did he say exactly? Some about Richard, you killer. So whenever anyone was from the news was playing their clips on Delphi, all you hear is JLR's voice in every audio out
Is that
there.
who that was?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
I didn't know it was JLR, no.
Yeah, it's like Richard, something about, child killer, whatever he said, something like that. I can't remember the exact words anymore, but every freaking audio clip. What, Char?
Why didn't you do? Why did you do it, Richard? I think that's
Yeah,
what
that's
it
it.
was.
Yeah. What
Richard.
did you do, Richard? Yeah. It's like he's everywhere. So as I was watching this and I saw JLR in the background, it made me just crack up. All right. Back to
Go to my deathbed thinking I didn't pay, and that might have been the reason that we never saw her again.
Do you think, though, they're advising them to pay? I mean, at the end of the day, are they saying, yeah, you should pay?
Only because I see that there appears to be no division. So the fact that the Guthries have said they're going to pay, and there's been no inkling of any disagreement on law enforcement's part, that would tell me that the totality of the circumstances is telling the Bureau that it would be wiser to pay at this point. I'm kind of like the play-by-play at a football game. I'm telling you what I can't tell you what play I'd call because I don't see the defense. But I can tell you that what I'm seeing is they've decided that the best play is to pay the ransom.
And if they pay, could that help the FBI in any way? Like, you always hear that it's not traceable with Bitcoin, but does it open up another avenue to at least investigate?
Yeah, no, it's not true that it's not traceable. The FBI in some of these malware scams where they hold companies hostage to get their data back, the FBI's gotten something like $23 billion back from Bitcoin, and it gives them opportunities. I mean, they go in and they find a company or a scam artist who's doing this. They will frequently go in and take everything. So the FBI is not unable for your double negative day, they are not unable to recover money here, but there are some very specific things that they need to do and to make this happen, and those things have to be in place. And again, I would say that they're delivering the ransom, even electronically, gives the Bureau more information and more of a chance to catch somebody than by millions of miles than by not paying.
Sorry.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just. Hey, Allison, can you go on mute?
Sorry, I'm in the courthouse.
It's okay. I figured. What's the other thing I was going to ask you? Let me just get back to my train of thought. So, did you see you saw Savannah's last message where she said,
Yes.
"We've received your message and we understand and we will pay." What did you make of that? Because there are different theories floating around. There was a message in the second note that came on Friday that I am told, was not necessarily positive. Do you think she means that we want our mother's, remains back at this point?
Well, there's some things that she said in that we understand, and this is the only way we can have peace, and we want her back so we can celebrate. These are not things that you say when somebody says we've got him. Here's your mother. She says, she's scared but fine. This kind of stuff. A family who had just gotten proof of life would almost certainly say, please tell her we love her, that we are going to pay, we are going to get her back. Please, if there's any way you can get her medicines to her or make sure she's okay until this goes through. I heard none of that. And so I don't know, obviously, any more than anybody else on this side of law enforcement, what was in that note. But I think it's plausible that there's something more that they know that we don't.
What do you think is going on behind the scenes with, like, for example, today, nothing has really happened to the house today, but yesterday they came out and they were looking in a septic tank. Friday night, they towed Nancy's car and were searching the house. Saturday night, I was at Annie's house and deputies came and were photographing the inside of the house. What I'm struggling with is wondering, are they just covering all their bases? And is this almost like a cold case? And like, there's just someone sitting in a room thinking, what have we not checked off yet? We need to be trying everything. Or are all of these things deliberate based on information that they have? And, this is all kind of like they're working towards one goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you hit it right on the head, Brian. I had lots of cold cases. When you're in the bureau, the newest agent gets the cold case, and it's a 30-year murder or something like that because everybody's tired of working it. But a kidnapping case with a victim outstanding goes cold in days, not years. And so I believe that what happened is this: that in the initial rush, when it was being run by Pima County, and by the way, I'm not criticizing anything they did, they had a very short window where they could get in that 24 to 48 hours, a quick return, and they had to jump on this. So it can take 24 hours to process a crime scene. You don't have that time. So they went in and they got the evidence they could get as quickly as they could get, the most obvious evidence they could get, and proceeded with it. So now, 8 days down the road, the FBI seems to have taken over main control of the case, which they should, not because Pima isn't competent, but because FBI has thousands of agents and an entire science lab they can pop on this case. And so what the FBI has done is say, okay, at the beginning, we just had to, just bam through this whole thing. Now it's getting a little cool. And we have to go back and retrace all the steps, find anything we might have missed. And so they sent the evidence response team, which is SpaceX of evidence gathering and crime scenes. So said start at the beginning, and they do things like I've seen them operate when I was in the FBI, and it was astounding. They bring surveying equipment in, like property surveyors, and they come up with millimeter dimensions of the pool to the house to this corner, and they accurately reproduce the house and the land electronically, and then every bit of evidence is geo-referenced in what they're doing. It's just astounding. So what I see is them coming in and absolutely creating a record from the beginning.
We have a producer. I was actually just texting with her, Allison, our friend, who's at the courthouse and is telling me that there's no warrants available. And there's been a lot of action. I mean, they've been at the house 3 times now. They were at Annie's house, the sister. Do you think that means that that they're sealed, or would they need warrants for all of these things that we've seen happening?
No, they would not necessarily need warrants. If they're sealed, I think there might be indications of a sealed warrant. But the fact that they're getting voluntary compliance, and they're not seeking a warrant. There were times when they'd say, yeah, come search the house. We get a warrant anyway, because the person was a suspect. And we know that if we eventually arrest them, they'll say, oh, I never said that. So what this means to me is they're somewhat confident that they have legitimate access to the house that is not going to be attempted, that nobody's going to attempt to rescind in court, which means they don't view people as suspects in this case.
And I know you only have limited information, and we all only have limited information on the outside, but with your gut, do you think this kidnapping element is real? Or do you think this is sort of just a sideshow and they're working a whole different investigation here?
I think that's possible. I'm not putting it as my number one possibility, but they may know more than me. Certainly the going back to the evidence, and they are certainly considering the possibility that the kidnapping was that was a plan B, because it took a while to get that ransom note. usually, it took past, the most valuable hours of investigation before we even got a ransom note. So it's possible that they were attempting something else and are turning it into a ransom to cover up something. It's kind of possible that it could have been a residential burglary gone bad. But in that case, I don't see residential burglars having the wherewithal to come up with a complicated kidnapping plot.
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering, is the ransom, are these notes totally separate, like someone, overseas just trying to scam money out of the Guthries? And could it have nothing to do with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance?
It's possible, but I don't think the FBI would go with that. They have to have provided the FBI with something that would indicate that they that they know what's going on in that house.
Right. Yeah, I've thought about that too. Why would you put Savannah and her family through that if you just
Right.
were secretly working a whole nother, and unless they just don't know and you have to really suss out both options. Is that
Yeah.
possible?
It's possible. I don't think it's probable. You don't send $6 million on a hunch. I just don't think that's the case. I see more communication back and forth. You haven't provided us with enough. We're not going to send you $6 million when you can't even prove you're related to this. So I believe they've gotten some information that has convinced them.
The other thing, though, is if you're Savannah and you have the money and maybe they haven't given any proof of life or given any additional communication, but it's your own mom, how do
Yep.
you not just send the money? You know what I mean? Like,
Yep, I get that. People have to make these hard decisions. And I think in that case, though, that if the FBI was not convinced that these people were the legitimate kidnappers, that the FBI would probably recommend not sending the money. And frankly, Savannah's had a lot of dealing with law enforcement over her career. She's covered so many criminal cases. I would suspect, and I suspect that she has enough confidence in the FBI that she is going to follow their recommendations.
yeah. And we know that they've been there helping her craft the messages. And the last one was it was so interesting. We've received your message. We understand. It was almost like, I'm sure there's a whole science behind this, but like almost trying to be sympathetic to the kidnapper in a way. That was the vibe
There
that
is.
I got. Like you're trying to we don't think you're the devil kind of thing.
Right. There is an absolute science behind this, and accurate and a pretty useful science. So there was not a word in that statement that was unnecessary, that was superfluous, that wasn't considered. That note was as carefully crafted as a crossword puzzle. Every single word and the number of words and the tone, everything. There's a reason besides notoriety that Savannah's reading this. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah, and you can tell that they're reading. Like she looks down in pretty much every video, so it's obviously she's trying to stick to the specific words.
Right.
Just back to something else from Saturday night when I was out at Annie Guthrie's. The 3 deputies showed up, blue gloves. They went in. It was very low key. Like it wasn't like they weren't FBI. There was a security guard there, hired by the Guthries, who seemed to know they were coming, let the 3 deputies right through. And we've since learned that it was consensual, that, the family knew they were coming. And the blinds were down, but we could see flashes from inside. So they were taking pictures inside the house for about 3 hours. This is, again, Annie Guthrie's house. So Nancy's other daughter. Should we be reading into that? As in, a lot of people are questioning whether someone in the family was involved, or is that just standard protocol? And is that just someone behind the scenes saying, oh, we never got pictures inside the house and that's where she was Saturday night? We should just do that regardless. Like we should have that no matter what.
Yeah, I don't see how that would happen. I think, see, if the FBI is going to take this case federally, it would mean that anybody who collected evidence would have to testify. And so if the Bureau needed those pictures or whatever was in that house, they would have sent FBI agents so that everybody in the same organization is on the same page and they're all testifying. So I don't think that was what you would consider crucial information. But at the same time, it indicates the second time they've been in Annie's house. And, I'm not saying Annie or her husband had anything to do with this, but it's possible that they had people working in their house that might have been involved. Think about this. Annie was responsible for essentially, she lived closest. So of the family members, she was right there where she could take care of her mom. And she had knowledge of the house. She had all the information about getting into the house, their timing and things like that. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that somebody who had been in Annie's house could be a suspect. And that would mean photographs were being taken.
So it might not be Annie's husband or Annie, but it could just be they're interested in someone who was just at the house.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or even what happened that night. Was there, doing background on Nancy that night? Was she in good health? Things like that. There's so many things it could be, but I would lean, if it has anything, obviously it has something to do with the kidnapping. But I would lean towards the fact that it's not necessarily Annie or her husband. I would think more along the lines of domestic help, handyman, things like that.
So NBC News is reporting that the family consented to the sheriff's office showing up and doing whatever they were doing in the house with the camera flashes. Would they still, is there a difference between consent and a warrant? Would they have gotten a warrant if it was more serious?
Well, here's the thing. If you are searching somebody's house, is potentially a suspect, and they give you consent to search, a good lawyer will always try to get that consent revoked at trial. They'll say, oh, they didn't tell us what they were searching for. They didn't tell us we were suspects. There's so many things that they could bring up and say, we would never have consented had we known, blah, 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 blah. And so you tend to, those type of searches become extremely vulnerable. So I would never, at a suspect's house, except in exigent circumstances, accept a consent search without a warrant. And once I started searching, I would have people at the courthouse finding a magistrate to get a search warrant.
That is so interesting, and really, really important, I think, because I hadn't thought of that, and that really adds something. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, she's 84 years old, Nancy. Everybody with older parents knows you have a lot of people that start helping. You've got healthcare aides and you've got, housekeepers and pool people, whatever. She's got a really nice house. I'm sure there's a lot of maintenance. Do you think they're looking into all of those people?
Absolutely. Every single person who's been in that house for the last 5 years is going to be looked at. This is why the FBI is so important. They can get so many resources in there to just track these down. And I've got to tell you, I remember maybe the last 5 kidnappings on which I did something, surveillance, SWAT arrest, or whatever it was, or investigative work. Every single one of them was somebody who had either been known to the family or in most cases had been in the family's house. So if they didn't know Nancy, it would surprise me.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Steve, as always. You're so helpful. So we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
As always, I really appreciate Steve Moore for taking the time to talk with me. His expertise is amazing. He had an incredible career in the FBI. So, and he's worked kidnapping. So getting his perspective on all of this is really, really helpful. So I'll continue to be out here, obviously. Shout out to Mo, my cameraman, drone operator, just helper all around. And he got me this smoothie from Tropical Smoothie. And no, this isn't like sponsored or anything, but it's so hot out here that, we actually realized that we can Uber Eats smoothies, which has been like a lifesaver the last couple of days. So, such a heavy, sad story. You got to kind of keep yourself going. And my heart, of course, goes out to the Guthries, Savannah Guthrie. And I just hope, I think everybody hopes, obviously, that this will have a happy ending. I mean, what an amazing thing it would be for us to be able to cover Nancy Guthrie coming home. So
it's really the end of it. I'm sorry, I gotta crack up, honey. When we just realized we could get Uber Eats out here. Anyways, so Sharmain, quickly. Not quickly, it's whatever. What do you make of it now after listening to that gentleman? And we don't know about the ransom being paid. We don't know. Even though I know TMZ said that they could look at the big. What do you figure?
I'm back to where I was, before today's message from Savannah. I'm back to thinking that they were told possibly that she left alive, and possibly she's since passed, and they were told that. I don't know.
I know.
It's more and more sad. Every time I hear anything, it gets more and more sad.
Absolutely. Exactly. At the end of the day, it's always about the missing and the murdered, the victims of anything that I personally ever do, first and foremost. And so, yeah, behind like all this action and whatever is a mother that's missing, 84 years old, has health issues going on, and just knowing that there's nothing. Obviously we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this case if there obviously wasn't, that people in this world do sad shit to people. It's crazy. May they all burn in hell. Okay. Like tenfold over all these people. But go ahead, Sharmain.
Is it possible that there was like an accident or something at Annie's house and they're going to great lengths to cover it up? Like she never actually made it home, but maybe her Apple Watch did, but that doesn't explain her pace. Well, no, her pacemaker would be with her wherever she was. So I don't know. It's devastating to think that this is reality for this family, and
I know. Go ahead, Melissa.
Oh, it's my turn. Okay.
First of all, I thought I heard you anyway, but no, I guess it was Sharmain's.
I mean, like Sharmain said, the Apple Watch and the pacemaker it would have been, but something I found weird towards the beginning of what Brian Entin was talking about. He said that the kidnapper said it's going to be $4 million if you pay by Thursday, but if you don't pay until Monday, it's $6 million. That just that seems weird to me. That doesn't seem like something that would be said, but I think a lot of our thoughts here, as we've discussed them tonight, kind of coincide and align with what that FBI agent said as far as what would be done and things. But I was surprised to hear that even if they had a consensual search, that they would go ahead and get a warrant just to cover their butts. I hadn't thought of that. But are they only focusing on this as a kidnapping? Like, have they brought dogs out? Have they searched her entire property and like beyond? Or are they just focusing on this as a kidnapping?
We heard that I heard one of them yesterday talk about dogs being brought out. So yeah, I mean, to me that would be like a natural thing to do for pretty much any case, especially when there's like someone's kidnapped or abducted but yeah, so heard that there was dogs that were brought out for people that were obviously there. Can't remember where I heard it. I just heard it yesterday somewhere. Because somebody asked that question and they said, yeah, dogs were brought out. So, yeah, I feel like at this moment the gardener is the person now, because I feel like now if that was a consensual search, in a sense, right, and it didn't need a warrant, because that if there was anything that they felt was some guilt, or knowledge, or suspected, that they would have dotted their I's and crossed their T's on that. So if there wasn't any warrants, then that leads me to believe then that they're really not looking at Tomato Guy there and Annie. You kind of take away from that a little bit, Sharmain? Would you say the same a little bit now? If it was just a consensual search? Because to me, I can't see them slacking on that.
No,
No?
not even if they release the scene 4 times. What do you?
I know, right?
I mean, yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know whether to think if it is separate, because there's parts of you that believe it's entangled, and there's other parts you're just thinking, these are freaking, a-holes siphoning it off of a crime, and off of people's, sadness and grief, because I mean, these people do this shit all the time, you know, and it's because they keep using words like, like in the wording, in the writing, how it was said, as if it's like a professional, like type of, you know, ransomware person or something like that. But then there's those other things that think, no. So honestly, I'm kind of just all up in the air right now with it all. After kind of listening to this right now, I'm just still up in the air with if it's I'm not sure what my things. Oh, there you put what's there? What does that say? Oh, Nate. Oh, Nate. I love Nate. He's a great guy. What does that one say? Here, I'll make it bigger. Go ahead, Jermaine.
can you make it bigger or no?
Yeah, I just did.
Okay, well, I mean, I can't zoom in anymore, so I'll just read it. Nate Eaton said the FBI released this following statement. This was 1 hour ago. For more than a week, FBI agent, analysts, and professional staff have worked around the clock to reunite Nancy Guthrie with her family. The FBI is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. Additional personnel from the FBI field offices across the nation continue to deploy to Tucson. We are currently operating a 24-hour command post that includes crisis management experts, analytic support, and investigative teams. But we still need the public's help. Someone has that one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. We need that person to share what they know. Please call us at 1-800-CALL-FBI from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Investigators have not identified any suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles connected to Nancy Guthrie. Anyone who believes they have information that may assist investigators is asked to contact 1-800-CALL-FBI or the PCSD non-emergency line at 520-351-4900 or 88-CRIME. There are no press briefings scheduled at this time regarding Nancy Guthrie. Should a significant development occur, a press conference will be called and media will be notified via email and our Pima Sheriff X account. How terrible. Fake mail had something. That was the same statement. Same statement. It's sad, you guys. There's just nothing. And with the deadline coming and going like that, it's like, I don't know what we could possibly glean from any of it. We don't know if she's alive. We don't know if the family believes she's alive. They probably have hope. Their message yesterday was devastatingly sad. The language used was sad.
Yeah, I
So,
kind of looking around here. I'm just kind of up in the air at the moment now. Just when I felt like, it was kind of I don't know. I got to think about it. I got to absorb all this stuff again because I think everyone's just kind of their head spinning on this one as well. Kind of go,
totally,
hey,
totally at a loss. So there was a prayer circle down the street from Nancy's house, and I believe it was the parishioners from her church.
mm,
I don't know if any of them were her direct neighbors. Cash is there. We'll see. I think they're unrelated business, but I don't know. I feel like
let me.
I mean, obviously it's pretty clear. It's kind of like thanks tips for me to say this, but as time goes on, the worse things seem. But I think that it was. I think the outcome has been the outcome for the better part of a week, at least. I don't think. It's
Let's
sad,
see.
but I don't think there's much hope.
Go ahead.
I don't think there's much hope. I keep talking. I should talk.
So you kind of your mic keeps cutting in and out, by the way. So I'm only catching pieces of what you're saying.
Yeah, I can't explain why. Sometimes my sound is good, sometimes it's not.
Yeah, well, it's better there, I just came across this that was just done 6 hours ago. It says why. Okay, let's just listen to this for a sec.
Photograph, there'd have been something, a lock of hair, a drop of blood, something mailed to somebody so they could verify, yes, in fact, these people have my mother. Kidnappers want to get paid quickly. They don't want this thing to linger. If you're negotiating with another drug dealer in South America somewhere, it could go on for a few weeks, a month, until they get bored and decide this is not worth it. And it's either pay up or we're going to kill this person. And it's always a negotiation, right? The first figure they throw out is never what actually gets paid, like any good business deal. There's going to be a negotiation, but it's going to be a fast and hard one. And there's been no negotiations. No one's called up and said, hey, where's my money? That hasn't happened. For the simple reason is nobody's kidnapped her, I don't think. If you're a good kidnapper, you're going to grab the medication on the way out the door because you're going to have to take care of her. You're going to have to keep her alive and healthy, right? So it shows a total lack of planning. The total lack of forensic evidence of anyone being in that house, of grabbing her, is another clue that she wasn't kidnapped. You walk in somewhere, you're going to leave something. I don't care who you are. You're going to leave some DNA, some footprints, some fingerprints, blood if anyone gets cut on glass or whatever. Listen, the FBI is great at crime scene processing. They've been processing this thing for 6, 7, 8 days now. They've got nothing. If they had something, we'd have heard about it. The problem was it became public very quickly. And my guess is the Russians or Nigerians said, hey, here's an opportunity to make a few dollars. We don't have a body. We don't have proof of anything. We're just going to hope that they panic and pay us. Her mother would be an attractive kidnap target, except for the fact that, you kidnap somebody like that and you better batten down the hatches because, man, everybody's coming for you. everyone. The entire law enforcement apparatus of Arizona is in gear, the FBI, probably ATF, probably DEA, everyone's jumping on this bandwagon. I mean, there's probably 500 people assigned to this case right now. I don't think anybody in position of authority believes she's alive at this point. And no one wants to say it publicly. This is the problem, right? Listen, when you see the FBI on the roof a week later and helicopters have been filming that roof for nonstop for 7 days, we're reaching. They got nothing else to do. They've got nothing left. And someone said, hey, get up on the roof, take a look again. Well, I'm sure somebody did take a look for cell phones or any evidence of someone coming off the roof after she came home. A great place to hide, right? I mean, all the technology we have turned up nothing. A lot of that is because she lives in an area that has light pollution issues and they don't want lights. So ring cameras don't work. Surveillance cameras don't work. I mean, they've got nothing. They've got no film. They got no evidence that she was taken by anybody at this point, other than some hokey ransom letters, which aren't saying anything except send us money to this untraceable account. I think, unfortunately, it's going to end badly. Mrs. Guthrie is probably going to be found deceased somewhere. I doubt she walked off and someone picked her up and, they're eating tea and cupcakes somewhere in Arizona area. I very much doubt it. I mean, she has medical issues. I think if she was taken, we'd pretty much know for sure at this point she was really taken. There'd be some forensic evidence to help indicate that happened. Because the feds aren't talking about it, I'm pretty sure there's no forensic evidence.
Shar, just quickly, if you can see that. So it's not still the best picture, but you can see the home that's to the right up in the corner up there. Again, the next home is where these big bushes end here. Another home across the street. So just
and it doesn't look like the brush is that thick, but like I said, Brian Entin out there with that border patrol officer
indicating
the daylight. It's absolutely with the noise pollution ordinance.
Right.
Unbelievable. And to think that was such a good point that he made about, so if you go into a house, you're going to leave something behind unless you're Brian Kohlberger and got, a hazmat suit on, which, maybe possibly they did, but you know what I mean? Like they would have left something. So if they didn't find any evidence of somebody being inside that house, maybe it's because that person had been inside that house regularly, like a man or a gardener or right? It's sad.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at. It's like it's him saying that no evidence of anybody being in the house just screams more to an inside job, whether that be family or caretaker or somebody she's got, garden or pool or whatever. Because that means they're normal to be there. It's not unusual for their DNA to be in there or a hair to be in there, in my opinion. But one thing I haven't heard any of the stations mention is, did Nancy have Wi-Fi at her house? And if she did, are there any devices that connected around that 1:45 to 2:30 time frame?
I don't know. I'm assuming she would have Wi-Fi. Don't we all? Pretty much. Unless you live like in a cave or in Bumpkin Land. But I would assume that she would have Wi-Fi.
Well, I would assume she does too if she's going to church online, but has law enforcement, and hopefully, we go back all the time to Delphi, and here we're seeing it again where they release it and then they secure it again and then they release it. Did they even look into that
4 times over?
Yeah. Maybe on their what, 4th trip there, are you sure? I'm
sure as soon as the FBI got there, though, they would have kind of swept it all up. They would have tied it all up. Like, did you check this? Did you check that? They,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure once the FBI got involved, things smartened up a little bit. However, do we know exactly when that was? Because they were back at that scene last night.
Mm.
Or was it last night or the night before? I can't remember, but I mean, I
Well,
think the FBI involved longer than that. But maybe that's why they went back. Did you check this? Did you check that? No.
right,
You know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
No, we didn't think of that.
I mean, you know, I just find it somewhat hard. So if they believe that there is someone that has Nancy with the ransom, what would be the point of going into the septic tanks unless, like, because they were prodding. So I think it's one thing if they're draining it or whatever and trying to see if there's DNA inside there from, I get it, the flushing of the toilet or the shower or something like that. But they were like this, you know, with the sticks. And I can understand that if you're trying to look for a body, but it's kind of like I'm thinking to myself, so are they just simply doing their due diligence of that part? Because yeah, if they do believe that the ransom people are real, I mean, I think, I don't know, it just maybe boils down to doing their due diligence fully, you know, leaving no stone unturned, you know.
That's what we can hope for.
You know, but what was your take on the fact of them going there and opening up the septic tanks and stuff? Just, do you guys just take it as more them doing their due diligence, just to make sure that they've checked everything properly, at least around the house and stuff? And
That's how I took it. They were just searching to make sure that they didn't miss anything.
yes, how you took it, kind of thing, same thing, sure.
Well, for me, it more points to, like, it told me that they don't believe the ransom demand is real either. You know, there are other ransom cases that are not current but quite public, you know, but they never go like this. They're concentrating on the kidnappers and they're waiting by the phone and they've got, yes, they're doing other searches and canvases and stuff, but they have reason to believe that that ransom is real.
Do
You know?
you think that do you think at some point tomorrow that we'll find out if the ransom was paid? Do you think, like, we'll actually know?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends. If there's more communication from the kidnappers or the
Like,
ransom senders,
yeah.
maybe. But if there's not, I think they'll have to give it a few days to try to give them time to reach back out. Like, I don't know. How would you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I disagree.
What'd you say, Melissa?
I disagree. I think we will know because we're either going to know that they paid it and she's not come home or her location's not been identified, or they're going to say, well, we didn't pay it. I think somebody, whether it be Savannah or all three, I think we're going to know one way or another, most likely.
Whether it's a leak or whether it's, yeah, I feel like we will as well, actually. Don't know maybe if it's tomorrow, but I feel like we are going to find out as well, you know. But anyways, my ass is tired now. I'm tired. I got to get up at early in the morning. Tomorrow I'm 7 to 3. You guys must be tired because you guys came out. Wow. Char, you just obviously came off your live and took a very small break. And Melissa, I know you were in there as well. Been a long day. You guys ready to go? Unless there's more you guys want to talk about. You know, it doesn't matter to me.
I was looking to see if anybody posted anything new and noteworthy, but there's really not. There's really nothing. The only thing that I found a little bit interesting was the post that John Douglas made a couple of days back, basically that he wasn't going to comment, he wasn't going to kind of try to analyze things from the information that we have right now, but more so concerned about the coverage of the case, and that if it is indeed a ransom situation, that the online coverage could spook the kidnappers, and that's why they used to, before the age of the internet, they used to keep these things pretty quiet, just to
Hey,
deal
everyone.
with the demand itself until they had reason to believe, it wasn't legitimate. So, and that's kind of what John Douglas was saying, but he did say why plus how equals who. So why would be money. How they went into her home, no sign of forcible entry, took her out, equals who. And I mean, I don't know. I say gardener, handyman, pool keeper,
Mailman.
or family.
Who is somebody that knew how to turn off the camera? That is where you start.
Turn
They
it
didn't
off?
turn it off, took it.
You mean they smashed it?
I don't know. It says disconnected.
No,
So
the
camera
camera
does
wasn't
that mean it was smashed? Does that mean it was taken?
I believe it was smashed, and according to when Ashley Banfield was talking about it, like the sheriff guy Nano, he said that that they weren't in their possession. So as if whoever did all this took the cameras, but then I guess there was that one up on the roof. But
Well, the only thing the timeline says is 1:47 a.m. a doorbell camera at Guthrie's home disconnects, and we saw it on Brian Entin's video. It's gone. They took the doorbell cam.
right.
So the
And
software detected someone on one of the other cameras, but there's no video.
yeah. But that was the thing.
Did the FBI or the cops take it?
No.
Just because it's not on Brian Entin's. But
No.
that doesn't mean that the cops don't have it.
Yeah, but didn't you just listen to what I said? Come on now, listen. Open those ears. I literally just said that Nano Sky said that, and this is on Ashley Banfield, that they didn't have, they weren't in possession of them. So whoever, that's why I guess, as well, right? It comes across like somebody knew, where those cameras were. Maybe not the one on the roof, but whatever. But that, yeah. So because that's what a lot of people were wondering, right? Like, does police have the cameras? But Nano, like I said, sometimes he's like loose lips on there, and then next thing you know, he retracts and shit. So Ashley Banfield is one that was talking about the smashed. Nano was the one that was basically saying that no, they don't have them in their custody, as if the people that perpetrated the Nancy's kidnapping, abduction, whichever, took them.
That makes 0 sense. Because that would mean that they have to come up on the porch, take the camera, put it in their pocket, take off with the camera, get rid of it so that it disconnects from the house. They got to take it far enough away, it disconnects from the house, and then come back because the pacemaker ain't disconnected yet. So then they have to come back again to the crime scene a second time to gain entry to kidnap her. That doesn't make any sense. They would have literally, for it to disconnect, they would have had to been far enough away from the home, far enough away from like mine. It has like a little battery thing.
1 second, Marie. According to Nanos, there was no cameras on the inside of the house. I'm just going by what the sheriff said when he was talking. Do you guys, I mean, like I said, are you guys ready to go? If not, I can pull up that. I got that one up where he's on Ashley Banfield talking about a bunch of shit. That night. That's why I was kind of like,
I'm ready to go. I think we call it a night and trade.
Yeah, no problem at all. I can play it another night anyway. We'll just put all those little clips together. Okay, are you ready to go, Shar?
Yep, I'm good with whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, you know what? I will, because yeah, I gotta get up early, and I wanna take a boo around, see what's out there for the information and shit, and just chill and relax with my iPad in my bed. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So
That's good.
yeah, so we'll see. It's just sad, simple as that. No matter what, any of these cases, this is why it does suck to be in true crime, because it was never my intention to ever be in this space, at all. Because it's just heartbreaking. Like, it's just when you think the nasty world out there, it's just heartbreaking. You got 2 children, Jack and Lily, missing, that are just innocent victims. And we have to sit there for 9 months later, watch a bunch of BS, happen in that case. And, all these children like Harmony Montgomery, Elijah Vu, little monkey there, what's it, Vaughn, and just all these cases, time and time again. It's just heartbreaking that people are so sadistic and cruel in this world. So I really just wish them all evil. I don't care. I'm not one of those forgiveness types. Go fuck themselves, fucking assholes. And whoever is doing anything to this too, have a cup of go fuck yourself from me to you on this one, fuckers. Yeah, it's just so sad. Watch all these people in such pain and agony. Well, let's just say this is all going to be about the root of all the evil, money. This is going to be about money. That's what this is all going to be about, is money, and to watch all these people suffer because of, just greedy, sick, twisted people. I'm sorry, but it's no different than those fuckers that are sitting there trying to scam old ladies all the time, or people all the time. They have no qualm about taking someone's retirement money over there in their fucking butt fuck country over there. It's just sickening when people just don't care about other humans and stuff like that. But anyways, that's now. I just get pissed off. Anyway, all right. I'm good.
Yeah, it's sad.
Hey,
it's sad, and it's never ending. There's always more evil doers and people that just want money, greed, control. It's just,
and it's one thing to be that way, when it's not impacting other people in a sense, for the nastiness of this world, fuckers. But anyways, are you doing a live tomorrow on anything, Shark, to let people know? Or are you just not sure yet?
I'm not sure yet. Today, I mean, Jack and Lily, it's a struggle to, keep the conversation relevant. Really, really stretching, and I'm not one to just make shit up, and my questions are running thin because the sources that we can get answers from are not truthful, and the bias is, it's disgusting. You're either on this side of the fence or you're on that side of the fence, and it's like somewhere in the middle we can find some common ground and maybe get some relevant information to talk about, but there's nobody that's close to the case that is willing to do that. So it's becoming challenging.
We'll see what happens when March 2nd comes along and see what all starts becoming of that, I suppose. Actually, there should be something soon here as well. But other than that too, like, again, me, Sharmain, Melissa, for people that don't know this channel, we just keep it real. We're not here to bullshit people. We're not here to try to use clickbait on anyone. The reason why we're all good friends is because, we're no bullshit type of people, and we do things from the hearts, and and for no other reason. Money is not the motivator by no means for any of us here. It's just about caring. Didn't, like I said so many times, I try to talk myself out of even freaking doing true crime, but I keep thinking about all the good reasons for it. On top of that, that's the only thing that ever keeps me going in true crime, because the sadness part is thick. But Sharmain, Melissa, what a good group of bitches we are. Just saying, right?
Yeah, we do what we can do.
Yeah.
We keep it real. We don't typically sugarcoat anything. And sometimes I feel bad when we're talking about cases because I don't sugarcoat. But I just don't. I don't see a point in sugarcoating bullshit. Call it like it is. Call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Like that guy that we just played. I like people like that. That's what I like to watch. I don't like none of that sugarcoating crap either. I know that there's of course the sensitive part, but I like ones like that. I'm not, like none of us are afraid to say that we believe that Nancy is deceased and stuff like that, because that's the reality of it all. But I like people like him. I just like blunt people that just speak from their heart and are genuine about how they're speaking. So those are the ones that I love to watch. But anyways, guys, all right, that's enough. I'm gonna call it a night. You guys are gonna call it a night. You guys, Melissa, you guys is from Indiana, so she's 3 hours different. Charmaine's in Alberta, so Charmaine's at I guess 8 o'clock almost. I'm in the Vancouver, Canada area in BC, so I'm at like 7 o'clock. So yeah. Anyways, you guys see what it is tomorrow. See what happens. Okay. Thank you guys all for being here. Appreciate you, Lacey. Nice to see you back again. It's been a minute. I knew that was you as soon as I saw your name, but Sharon, mods. Anyways, everybody, just thank you guys for being here and watching it. And prayers, regardless, for answers for what happened to Nancy Guthrie and the families. Anyways, okay, guys. Have a good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night, John Boy.
Wait 1 second. Night. Hold on. Good night, crispy bacon. Crispy bacon. All right. Where's my outro? Somewhere here. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys, for being on here. And don't forget, in the description of this live, of course, is Sharmain's channel, True Crime Story Podcast, and AJ, Melissa's channel, American Justice. Melissa, definitely try to help her out, get to 500 subs. If you're not, Melissa, what are you at right now? Quickly.
I think I need 10 to get to 500.
You got no subscribers during this live at all?
No.
Oh, okay. Did you want to drop your link quickly before we head on? I'm sure there's some 10 people that we could torture to subscribe to you.
Let me pull everything up because that's a process. Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I can. Oh, no. See, when I'm in this mode, I'm not really sure where I find it in this mode now, ever since they changed everything. Oh, is it here? No. Yeah, I'm not. Before I could just go, I got to figure. I figure out how to do the live stream, like why that thing changed now. Like I figured where I enter my stuff.
But there's Melissa's link. There she is right there.
Yeah. Oops. I think I keep taking it, putting it up in Sharmain, and then we're catching each other wrong there. But anyways, you guys, American Justice, Melissa, she's, just trying to get to 500 subs at this moment. By tomorrow, what, 5 million, Melissa? Agreed. But no, if you guys could just help her get to the 500, it's that first little plateau with YouTube, where you can have community post and, yeah. So if you guys can help her out, that would be amazing. Or for anyone that's watching this later and that. And of course, Sharmain is True Crime Story Podcast. on there. Oh, you wait. I haven't. Wait, wasn't that a members one? Your daughter was on there the other day with you. I believe you said.
She was, and it was just for like chat control, so I went and I marked it public. But just it is really challenging trying to tell somebody about the Jack and Lily case who hasn't been following it.
Definitely.
It is challenging. So
Yeah.
She did good. She did well. At the end of the day, she thought Daniel's guilty of something. So she got a pass.
Lord. Oh, Lacey said she just subscribed. All right. Do I hear two? Do I hear two, three? Let's go. All right. Closing out, guys. Have a great night. Thank you guys all for being here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
The world is cold. We stand surrounded. We are not alone. Within